Colorado. It's losing 2 of 3 against Miami. And I understand they had the setback with Gibson and they're taxed. The bullpen is taxed. But, yeah, it bothers me. I think you need to win those games.
And I think you're right, Dan. It bothers me, too, because in that situation, honestly, you take away those 2 home runs, which is not ideal for Matthew Liberatore, but he was thrown into a really tough position because, according to reports, with Kyle Gibson, that happened right before. The late scratch happened right before because he was stretching.
Liberatore was walking out for the anthem when he found out he was going to start.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me is that offensively for the Cardinals, 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. We continue to see this over and over again with the Cardinals offensively. You should be able to get it done against bad teams, and the Marlins are a bad team.
And they left 8 on. Arenado was 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. Wynn 0 for 2. Pages 0 for 2. Gorman 0 for 2. Ciani 0 for 2. So to your point, Brooke, not coming through with runners in scoring position. And going back to Liberatore making the start, it had been to the point that Skip Schumacher had already put his lineup out there, and it was too late to even switch it. So he had a lineup that was prepared for a right-hander. Then all of a sudden it goes to a lefty. So he was kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit too, because his lineup was set. It was in stone, and that's the way it works in baseball. If you have that late scratch, tough luck. That's the way it goes.
I wonder if in the future, if this would ever happen again to Ali Marmol. And this was a second guess that I second guessed at like 1 in the morning. So I didn't first guess it, so I didn't think of it. But Matthew Liberatore as a starter probably takes 15, 18 minutes to get ready, to prepare, be mentally ready. I wonder if in the future it might make sense to get a 1-inning reliever to start the game and give Liberatore his normal time to prepare. Get a Kyle Leahy who knows how to warm up quickly and come in and throw an inning, or a John King or somebody like that.
It's got to be on the table, I would think.
And then let Liberatore start the second inning.
Yeah, let him get his normal way that he warms up as a starter. But the other thing is, too, on the flip side, he is a reliever, and he can get loose quickly. He's learned how to do that. So I see both sides of it, too.
Would you have bumped Andre Palante? Because I know that he's the scheduled starter for tonight's game. Would you have bumped him in this situation?
I don't think so, because he's set up his preparation to pitch for tonight. His routine has been set for tonight. I think that would have been probably pretty tough on him.
Well, and then you have Adam Kloffenstein, according to reports, that he will be.
Yep.
So where does he fit into this situation?
That's an interesting question. He threw 91 pitches for Memphis on Sunday. So if he debuts, it's on 3 days rest, which they're going to need some arms in this bullpen just because they've had the extra inning games. So I would assume he can give you multiple innings. He was starting down in the minor leagues, and that would make some sense.
Yep, and the Cardinals are off tomorrow, Friday, a rare Friday off, because then they come home to take on San Francisco on Saturday and Sunday. So there are a lot of different directions they can go. I thought that was an interesting move, too, to bring up Kloffenstein after throwing a lot of pitches, and pitching really well, by the way, on Sunday.
So I guess it's 3 days rest. This would be his bullpen day. You know, you probably can get 2 innings out of him, 3 innings out of him if you need it, and you may need it with Andre Palante going tonight. St.
Louis City SC playing at home last night at City Park. They fall to the Colorado Rapids by a score of 3-0. 7 straight games without a win for City. They're 0-2-5, and for those of you uninitiated to the table standings in soccer, that's no wins, 2 losses, and 5 draws.
Ew, not good. Now, Rocco, you were at the game last night. What did you observe?
That was a pretty bad game. Yeah, it was pretty ugly. It was a weird lineup. They've never played the lineup. That was the first time they've really set up the way that they did. And there was no attacking, threat for the majority of the game. Jose Kojima was incredible. João Klaus, after a very good game, despite not scoring over the weekend, was pretty average, and pretty much everything everyone complains about him last night kind of came to the forefront yesterday. It was a bad game all around. He didn't lose anybody to injury, but that's certainly why the game sucked.
And three straight clean sheets for the opposition against SC.
Yeah, they can't score. What's going on with Adeniran?
Cardinal said it last night. Sam wasn't on the roster because they're keeping him fit because they're about to trade him. Or transfer him.
Oh, so it's that simple.
Yeah, that was. Cardinal said that last night when he was asked about Sam not being on the roster. He said Sam's staying fit because he's in transfer and trade talks right now.
There you go.
Wow, that's pretty honest. I like that.
I liked it too. Some people are not going to. Some people did not like it, but I personally, nothing better than honesty and a quick tweet.
Okay, so most inefficient offense in St. Louis, was it last year's Cardinals? Was it the 2009 Rams where Keith Null started, or is it this City SC? I'm going with the Keith Null Rams.
I'm going with Keith Null Rams.
They were pretty bad. I don't even know if they got 200 points.
The difference with this team is most people in this city team would still be MLS players if this team didn't exist. Sorry, Keith.
So what was the mood like afterwards? Had to be down, man.
It took them a long time to get into the interview room, so I imagine the locker room was not a fun place to be in. Apparently, they brought up tape and broke down the last minutes of the game in the locker room immediately after the game before the press conferences. So
how does it work?
That probably tells you what you need to know.
So how does it work in soccer? Because in most sports, they have like a 10-minute cooling off period, and then they have to be out for the media. What is it for soccer?
I actually never looked at the MLS's rules, but usually it was a longer wait.
Yeah.
It was a longer wait.
I mean, sometimes it happens with the other teams and the other sports.
Sometimes it's like a 15-minute wait. Sometimes, last night it was more like 20.
All right.
20, 25. It was a little bit longer.
The 2009 Tampa Bay Buccaneers scored the second fewest points in the NFC with 244.
154.
175.
Jesus.
The St. Louis Rams had 175. The team with the second fewest points had 244 points. They
Not
were
good.
Epic. No, they were epically bad, Dan.
Yeah, that's about as bad as
Really
it gets.
funny that you're bringing up bad Rams teams. Just,
Every morning he does.
That's fair.
It's called PTSD, okay?
Yeah.
You're working through it. You're working through it.
No. There's a line between working through it and just being traumatized by it. I'm still in the being traumatized by it thing hard. There's no working through it.
Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow night in Edmonton. The pregame at 6:30 here on 101 ESPN. And for the third game in a row, the Florida Panthers will go for a Stanley Cup victory.
Okay, so what do you guys think? I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit, but I promise I'm going to get back to the Panthers here. So the Celtics win, of course, and they went immediately down to Miami. I saw that some Boston fans were upset about it, but it would have been really cool if Miami had won. And then, then Jason Tatum and Matthew Tkachuk could have celebrated in Miami.
In a bar
that would have
with the cup
been
and the
really,
trophy.
really cool. But what did you guys think about Boston going straight down to Miami afterwards?
I just assume you drink at home and then get ready for the parade the next day.
That's what I thought. I thought you just celebrate, give it 48 hours, and then you're on the boats and you're celebrating. You got the parade, and now they got to go to Edmonton.
I guarantee you Boston has a place like O.B. Clark's.
And the Celtics need to go to Edmonton. You'll celebrate up there.
Boston has an
They might have several over there.
I would think so. And they've got plenty of beer in Boston. So
I just remember that during the Blues Stanley Cup run, after they, of course, won, and we were in Boston, that it was very quiet, obviously, because they hadn't won the cup, so they were a little sour about it. But they also wouldn't let anybody in to celebrate. If you're a Blues fan, if you're wearing anything Blues, they would not let you in.
That's kind of rude.
It was. Yeah. So maybe I get it. But, yeah, I just found that interesting.
We wouldn't do that here. I mean, hell, when the Red Sox won the World Series, Cardinal fans clapped for their fans. We've congratulated them.
Some of them got on the field.
Yeah.
And then the ones that were down by the dugout said, come on down to our seats and let you celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were nice. We were nice losers.
Not sore losers.
No, not sore. We were friendly. And okay, so Jimmy Fallon does a good show, but I will forever hate him for going on the field with Drew Barrymore when
what
they
was
went.
the movie? Fever Pitch?
Fever Pitch, yeah.
That thing was like a time bomb because I wasn't paying attention to like movie news when I was a kid, and so somebody just took us to that movie when we were kids, and I was like, okay. Still traumatized from the loss of the World Series, not knowing that the end of the movie was going to be the loss of the World Series. I was so mad at the parent who took us. I was like, I'm angry about this still. What are you doing?
So you were there in person?
No, I'm saying we went to see the movie.
Oh, the movie
at the theater like 4 months later, and I have no idea. I have no concept of the movie. I'm like 13 years old. I'm not like seeing previews and stuff and paying attention to Jimmy Fallon, vehicles. And so we go to actually see the movie. The parent buys the tickets, and so I'm just like watching the movie. And all of a sudden it starts getting there. I'm like, this isn't gonna. Oh, what the hell is happening right now? I want to leave.
Yeah. Unreal.
We're unpacking a lot of trauma this morning.
We sure are.
We're working through it is the term.
Brooke is back. Danny Mac, Randy Carricker, Matthew Rocchio, and we have Sick of It coming up. There's nothing for Brooke to be sick of. I have no idea what she's going to come up with here, but we want your text 314-399. I missed you, Brooke, because I get one a day from my guy to the right. 314-399-9646. 314-399. Yo-ho!
You wait for this every morning.
I do.
Why do you anticipate this?
Look at how happy he is, Dan.
When you do it.
Yo-ho. There it is. Very simple, very to the point today.
I missed Dan's yo-ho.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you didn't.
You missed the best one.
You had more important things going on.
Yep. Danny gave us a
Here Comes the Bride.
Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho.
It was fantastic.
That's
It was
in honor of you.
Oh, thank you.
Sick of it. Next time, 101 ESPN.
Three bands. One stadium. Def Leppard. Journey. Cheap Trick. Together. Three Rock and Roll Hall of Fame icons. Their biggest hits. Saturday, July 6th, Busch Stadium. Tickets on sale now at DefLeppardJourney2024.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick and towing is free. Plus, you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
Text in for Sick of It here at 101 ESPN. Brooke, Dan, Matthew, and Randy. And guys, I see this story. George Kittle, tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, had core surgery and lost 30 pounds. Now, I do diet stuff. I know a lot of people are doing like diabetes medicine to lose 30 pounds. Why not just do core surgery? It's fast. It's easy. It fixes your core. George Kittle has found the way to lose 30 pounds.
So you're sick of
I'm sick
people
of having to diet while he's doing core surgery.
You did,
or the people taking the non-diabetic
Ozempic.
people taking Ozempic so that they can lose a few pounds. Yeah,
You have a problem with that?
I'd just rather do core surgery than a diet.
If you have a lot of money, though, wouldn't you kind of take the easy way out?
I think they do. I probably would.
What do you think core surgery entails? Into your stomach
yeah.
muscles?
Yeah. Remember the Chris Duncan surgery, the mesh that they had to put in there for his core after he just ripped his core muscle. So yeah, it's pretty dramatic, but it's easy. I guess all you have to do is rehab a little bit. It just seems easier to me than having to stop eating Reese's.
Oh, is that what the key there is? Yeah. I would say that if you make a lot of money, though, wouldn't you take the easier way out of things rather than actually sweating it out?
But here's the
working
thing.
hard.
I see all these commercials for the side effects. And by the way, I wouldn't want to take medicine because like there was a shortage of this stuff and people that have diabetes couldn't get the medicine. So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to take medicine away from people that are dealing with life-threatening illnesses, or at least foot-threatening.
No. Yeah, when you see the side effects, I know it's usually long for medications anyways, but when you see the Ozempic one, it's like, wow, there's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah,
what did he just say? Did I miss the end there? I'm still trying to get acccclimated back to being here on the mornings.
Apparently, if you have diabetes, you can lose your foot. And you have to like roll.
Foot-threatening illnesses.
That's why I called it a foot-threatening illness, which is a fact. I'm not joking, people. I'm not. It's serious.
This is very serious. Okay. Well, you said that I shouldn't be sick of anything, which things were great, honestly. But of course, as we all know, anytime you're on a plane, you see a lot of crazy things. So this is what I am sick of. I am sick of the people that as soon as the plane lands, they push themselves to the front of the plane. I'm saying bypass every single person that is in front of them and just going straight to the front of the plane. That is what I'm sick of. I forgot that people do that, honestly. And I was trying to think of last night if there's a situation where it's okay to do that. Because I've had that situation before. You have two flights. Maybe the first flight was delayed and it was already a tight squeeze anyways. But I would ask the people, be like, hey, is there any way? Or you ask a flight attendant, like, hey, is there any way I can, maybe just get off this plane as quickly as possible? But it still doesn't feel right when you just kind of all of a sudden plane lands and you just grab your stuff, go to the front, bypass everybody else.
There is no airplane etiquette anymore.
No, there isn't.
Yes,
it drives me crazy. Now, if there's an elderly person, I can see that. You get them off the plane first and be cognizant of what they're going through. But yeah, the airplane etiquette is no longer available.
Our friend Ben Boyd always makes it a point to be the last person off the plane because he is so courteous.
I do that too.
Yeah.
That's great. I don't. But I also would never charge to the front. I follow rules. I go according to order.
I just wait. If I'm on a window seat, so I'm not, basically backing up somebody to my left or my right, I guess. Yeah, I could be in either aisle. I always go to when you walk on, I always try to go to the one on the right and get a window seat. But I don't want to back people up.
You know what I do on Southwest now? I just check everything and I just bring a book or a small bag and I take the first seat that I see, like in the first 3 or 4 rows. First seat. So
what about an exit row?
I'm fine with that.
I like exit row. Give you a little bit more leg room.
Yeah.
But if you're not in a rush, then I'm the same way. I will just wait it out. But it really does feel like airplane etiquette is just out the door. Because it just feels like people just don't care as much. You see so many weird things at the airport, which spent a lot of time there, obviously. And it was just strange to see. I also saw a woman, she was doing a Zoom meeting on the trash can. And so then people needed to throw away some of their stuff. But she had her laptop on the trash can. I'm like, of all places to do that, why would you do it on a trash can?
And by the way, while we're doing this airplane etiquette, people, don't be jerks to flight attendants. Don't ever be jerks to flight attendants, okay? Thank you. Okay, Dan.
All right, I'm sick of the strife between the PGA Tour and LIV. See the best players. Not going to have Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka represent the red, white, and blue in the Olympics. I think that's awful. I think it's terrible, and I'm sick of it.
I agree with that. And there's got to be a better way for these people because the players all want to be together. The problem here is the business people, right?
In a lot of ways, yeah.
And so it's a shame to me that these and the big negotiator for the tour players is gone now. I forgot his name, but the guy that Rory was tight with. And then the Al Salam guy. Have the players negotiate it.
Players would say, let's get this thing done.
Yeah.
But how do you make them whole? We always talk about that. So you had the guys that jump from the PGA Tour to LIV, get their money, but then the guys that don't, all of a sudden you invite them back with open arms? I doubt it.
Yeah, there's got to be a way, though.
I agree.
Just have them earn their world points back or something. I don't know how you do it, but there's got to be a way.
And then you have the PGA Tour trying to, have they done that yet? Started to pay some of the players?
Yeah, well, they haven't paid them, but they've got the plan in place so that the players get paid. All right, Matthew, what do you got there on the text line, brother?
I'm so sick of the freaking heat. First day of summer and my grass is already burned alive. No way in heck I'm going to a baseball game in this crap. Congrats again, Brooke.
Thank you. By the way, our grass, I understand what this texter is saying because we came back to our grass just absolutely pulverized. It does not exist anymore. We forgot to turn on the sprinklers.
So I played in the Demetrius Johnson Charitable Foundation golf tournament yesterday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like the heat. As long as I stay hydrated, I'm good.
I don't think it's even hot yet.
It isn't.
I mean, wait till it gets to like 100, 101. Then you got hot in St. Louis, and that's coming. By the way, I think this weekend.
It feels
This weekend?
I think so.
It's felt kind of nice a couple nights at like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like before the sun's even down. I'm
great
like,
bike riding weather.
that doesn't happen in late July and August. It's still like, you want me to go outside? No, the sun's still out there. No, I refuse.
Right,
Even
by
at
the way,
night.
Is today not the longest day of the year?
Yeah, summer
It
solstice.
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Take it.
Congratulations, Day.
I'm sick of the fact that I can't say City has scored a goal at least a week back.
A week back. 3 weeks back. So 3 consecutive without a tally.
When is the last time that they scored? How many games now?
Long.
It was
Oh.
the last time they scored was the 3-3 draw against Miami.
And what was the date on that? It's been a couple weeks, right?
That was June 1st.
Wow.
And now it's June 20th.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
That's not good.
Yeah,
Matthew's
even-
all upset.
Yeah, even he couldn't score for SC.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. It's not fun. I'm sick of Randy and his Cardinals glasses. Here, Randy, you want to put on the Cardinal? Where the heck are the Cardinals glasses?
Here's the thing.
Where the heck are the Cardinals glasses?
They're around here somewhere. Okay, so it's not really the Cardinal glasses. I think it's more. I actually understand that this team is epically mediocre. All right, I said from the day they signed Brooke. What did I say? That they were a 500 team,
Yes.
right? From the day they signed Sonny Gray, they aren't great. They aren't an awful lot better than Miami or Colorado or the White Sox. They really aren't. They are what they are. So that's why I say a game like that. If they were good, a game like yesterday would really bother me. But I don't think they're that good. Now, the rest of the league isn't that good either. So they have an opportunity to be a playoff team. But I don't think they're great.
It's that third wild card.
Yeah.
Is that something that kind of makes you question it a little bit more? Is it good or bad to have the third wild card? Because then you have a lot of teams that are still in the thick of it. But is it necessarily a good thing?
And they know they can be mediocre and be in the thick of it. I think that's the negative to it.
I think it's a great thing.
Well, it's great to keep fans involved.
That's why.
That's it, yeah.
And you never know. Like we've said, if the Cardinals could go on another 12-3 run like they went on earlier in the season and then play 500 the rest of the year, they're going to be in the playoffs.
So I said earlier that it's roughly 89 wins to get that wild card, and they would have to play great baseball to get there. But then I start thinking, will anybody do that?
Yeah.
Any of these teams? I don't see it. They're all hovering around 500. They'd have to play really good baseball, winning probably 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4 the rest of the way just to
Right.
get to that point.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to happen.
No. By the way, I was watching late last night, and the Brewers are still pretty good. They shut out the Angels 2-0. Freddie Peralta is good for them. And Tyler Anderson, who's a guy that's being talked about as a trade target for the Cardinals, he took the loss but pitched really well. That is it for Sick of It here on 101 ESPN? Or do you got one more? Good
Just
one.
overall, I'm so sick of watching the Cardinals every day expecting something different. When they have the chance to bust out the game, they never do it, and you can almost tell what the outcome will be. 6 out of 13 against the White Sox, Rockies, and Marlins.
I have a suggestion for you. And that would be don't expect anything different.
This is who they are right now.
It is.
Yeah.
It is who they are. That's Dan. That's Brooke. That's Matthew. Coming up, we're going to maybe head to Birmingham and check in with our buddy Greg Amsinger of MLB Network. Big day for MLB Network with MLB and the visit to Rickwood Field, the first place that Willie Mays played. And MLB Network did an amazing job over the last couple of days in honoring the memory of Willie Mays. And we'll talk to Greg Amsinger about that next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business leader, if you're an owner or a CEO or a CFO, I want you to know about what's happening on June 27th in the business world right here in St. Louis at the Union Station Hotel downtown. Business Grows Here is going to happen. It's a fantastic seminar, and it's set up to help you grow your business. You'll spend the day learning from a half a dozen speakers, including Jamie Simonov, the founder of the Ring Video Doorbell, who's headquartered his new company right here in St. Louis. Every speaker you'll hear will have you learning, and you'll have strategies and tips that you can immediately apply to your business. All you need to do to apply to attend the business event of the year is go to netsuite.com/Missouri. NetSuite's Business Grows Here happens Thursday, June 27th, and it'll be a day well spent to advance your business. It's free to attend. It's, again, free to attend. If you qualify, apply today to find out if you do. While seats are still available, go to netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals drop their series to the Marlins, dropping 2 of 3, including the final 2 games, both of them losing in the final frame. Yesterday, it was a 4-3 loss to the Marlins. Marlins winning on a single from Otto Lopez in the 9th. Matthew Liberatore got thrown into the deep end with a start after Kyle Gibson was pulled with back tightness, and he gave up 2 home runs right off the bat and finished with a 3 2/3 line, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and again, those 2 home runs allowed. Cardinals will play the Rickwood Field game tonight against the Giants. They will be off on Friday as they head back to St. Louis to finish off that series over the weekend. Last night in St. Louis City SC falls again. 7 straight games without a W now as they fall to the Colorado Rapids 3-0. Jordy Mihailovic pulls off the hat trick with a penalty shot in extra time, and it was, stoppage time, and then Stanley Cup final tonight, Game 6 in Edmonton. Pregame starts right here on 101 ESPN at 6:30. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Greg Amsinger is in Birmingham. We'll try to catch up with him later. We're not able to, even though we efforted greatly to get Greg. Haven't been able to hear back from him, but hopefully we'll get him later in the show. John Mozeliak, the Cardinals' Pobo and general manager. Well, he's not their general manager. He's their Pobo. Michael Gersh is their general manager. I get the Poho and Pobo stuff confused. But anyway, Mo spoke to Jimmy the Cat Hayes yesterday on Bally Sports about the trade deadline. It's 40 days until the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and Mo, has been pretty open about the fact that the Cardinals do have some needs. Here's the latest on what Mo is thinking about the trade deadline that happens on July 30th.
I think the real test is going to be what do we look like health-wise as we enter mid to late July, because that'll determine really what we're looking to do. But overall, I feel that the club is playing better. We're excited about knowing we're going to get some players back sooner rather than later. And so then it'll determine like really what's out there and if there's something that makes sense. But clearly, you know, as we look at our rotation, obviously Palante's done a nice job, but if there is something else that we could enhance, we want to think about. And just the overall bullpen right now, I feel like, you know, you're seeing that sort of like mid-season tiredness in the group. And so anytime you can add depth and protect theirs is also something smart when you're trying to compete for your division.
And so the Cardinals, as they do pretty much every year, they haven't for the last couple because they've gotten starters, but Mo traditionally has gone out and gotten a reliever. You wonder if, from a health standpoint that he talked about off the bat, if we're going to see Tommy Edman. I kind of doubt now that we're going to, I'll put it this way. We get to July 30th. There's no way we'll have seen a 100% Tommy Edman.
Yeah, at this point, it just feels like, I mean, how quickly has the story changed for him? You thought that he was going to possibly be back before the season started, and then it just continued to drag on and on. At this point, I don't think he will. I'm just more interested in what they will do when they approach the trade deadline. You need another starter, but do you also need another starter in this situation? Because Steven Matz, well, he did get injured again the other day. I guess we're looking for a second opinion, isn't that correct, about his back issues that he's currently dealing with? And so to me, that sounds like you almost need two other starters, because what other options do you have within the organization? Because they would have called them up by now.
I think you got to get a top pitcher. I'd look at bullpen help, and then I'd look at position players. That would be the order of importance for me. I gotta hope. And I got to have the realization that Nootbaar's going to come back and Edman's going to come back. And if that is the case, and maybe Walker at some point rejoins the club, if that's the case, then I got to look pitching. And to Mo's point, and we've been talking about it a lot, the bullpen is wearing down, even the big three a little bit. So you got to get some help there, too.
The question that I have is, with this team as it's presently constituted, if you could go out and get a number 2 starter, okay, or a number 1 starter. And even if you rent a player, which the Cardinals aren't, they're risk averse in that regard. Would it be worth it to give up good prospects, if you're the Cardinals, to go out and get that guy for 2 months to hope that you can make a run?
Not for me. I've got to sit there and say, if I'm going to make that move, and Mo has typically done this, where if I'm getting that guy, it's not only for the remainder of this year, it's beyond. And if that was the case, then I would. I would go ahead and move some of my prospects. I don't know how high I would go on my top prospects, but I'd be willing to move some.
Well, especially you can't move any pitching prospects at this point.
No, because you've got 2 starting pitchers that after this year, their contracts are up. Now, granted, Don Lynn and Gibson, you can pick up their options, but you have an injured Steven Matz. I wouldn't count on him for 2025. So the people like Kloffenstein, who's going to be here on the roster, a guy like Tekoa Roby, a guy like Graceffo, I think you need to have those guys in your organization, because it just doesn't make sense for the Cardinals to have this group of starting position players, and then I think they're the 6th highest paid starting rotation in baseball right now. At some point, they're going to have to develop and get into their rotation young pitchers.
What about, though, on the flip side, if you said, I'm willing to give up young pitching, knowing that the way that we're going to go about it is going to be like how we did this offseason, which is not dedicating a ton of money to pitching in terms of my free agency guys. And you said it. I mean, they're highly paid, and a lot of that is going to Sonny Gray. But if I'm going out and getting veterans and saying I'll sign them for 10 or 12 million, then I might be able to move a prospect and say at least my backup plan is to go out in free agency. We've targeted some guys, and we don't have to give them a ton of money. That'd be one way to look at it, too.
And the other thing you can do is if you have. Really, you're only going to have. I think you bring Gibson back, depending unless he has a disastrous second half. Yeah, so you'd have the Lynn money coming off the books. Otherwise, I don't think they have a ton coming up. Maybe Goldie, but maybe the money is best spent on spending another 25 or 30 million on another starting pitcher during the offseason.
At this point, it seems like that's what you have to do. I'm also interested in Giovanny Gallegos. I know that he should be returning. What happens with him moving forward?
He might be back today, by the way. And I think right now, and we've Dan, you've touched on his stuff, what he's got going on. The numbers aren't great. His production numbers aren't great. Do you want to put him in a leverage situation right now?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't think you can count on him one bit. Now, if he starts getting his velocity up, then I'd say, okay, we got something. If I see a sharper breaking ball, then I'd say, okay, now he's starting to get back to where he was. He was not major league quality before he got hurt. I mean, he was getting knocked around, and that's just not going to work.
No. And then you have Kloffenstein, as we know, who will be added as well. So I'm interested to see how they will really navigate this today in this game.
Yeah, I wonder what Kloffenstein is today. Kloffenstein or Stein?
I heard it was Steen.
Okay, that's what I thought too. I'll go with that then. That's good. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how they navigate this and how they navigate the trade deadline. At some point, when they're struggling to develop young pitchers, like they've struggled for a long time now, does it make sense to trade your young pitchers to almost predict, okay, they're not going to work out for us, and get a more established pitcher?
But then we have that conversation where one of them's going to turn into a Gallen or an Alcantara. And so we're just in that vicious circle, just going over and over again.
Yeah. I think to your point, Randy, and maybe the bigger question that you're asking is that in the current situation that they're at, 500, would you be willing to give up young prospects just to get in? And I think that's the question that they have to look at and try to answer right now.
Yeah, because that person that you get, unless it's you could have been aggressive and gotten Dylan Cease, okay? He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. But you didn't. So is that pitcher, are you going to be comfortable in a series against, if you're the 6th seed, you're in a series against the Philadelphia Phillies, are you comfortable going against Suarez, Wheeler, and Nola?
No.
I don't know how many teams are, though.
No, they aren't. Only the Doyers.
Yeah, the Dodgers would be. But if you added a frontline starter, because baseball is so random and weird, and I had Sonny Gray going in game 1 or 2 and flip-flop the other guy, I'd take my chances and see what would happen.
By the way, I think we might play the Brewers, right, in the first round. Is that what it would be right now?
So I'd have to think about it off the top of my head.
Philly
I think it
and
is.
The Dodgers would get buys. So it'd be, are we the last team?
The Cardinals would be the last
team.
team.
The third wild card team right now. Yeah, so we'd play the Brewers.
Yep.
How fun.
Really
but that's a winnable series.
It is.
I mean, any of these are. I mean, you're going to go in as underdogs in anything that you play, but baseball is random. You went through it the other day, Randy, how these teams that are lower seeds, once they got in, they won.
Right.
But
it's just crazy.
Yeah, and we're talking a lot about pitching, but honestly, my biggest question is what would show up offensively for the Cardinals?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's when Goldie and Arenado get hot. I don't know. Hoping.
Hasn't happened for a while.
Or the hot streak for Gorman. Goes in waves. Yes.
Yesterday he got hot.
Yeah, there you go.
He was 1 for 27 with 14 strikeouts going into the game yesterday. Yeah. Did hit a home run, but that's baseball in 2024, and he is the prototypical baseball player of 2024.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, you either do or you don't, and he doesn't do it a lot, but when he does, it's home runs.
Yep. It's the opening drive, 101 ESPN. Brooke is back, Dan and Randy. Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! TIOLI next on 101 ESPN.
Spice up your day today with a little Pick'em Champions from our friends at Underdog Fantasy. It's a Pick'em game that's right now active in Missouri. It's super easy. You can do it right now on your phone or from your desktop from underdogfantasy.com. It's super easy. You pick 2 to 5 players from at least 2 different teams. You select your entry fee. You're going to be entering a game alongside other underdogs. You hit your entries. You're walking away with your winnings. Let's build an entry for today. It is a Thursday, which means I'm going to start my entry off with a little bit of golf for the Travelers Championship. Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler. We're going to go low with both of those guys. Lower than 67 strokes for Schauffele. Lower than 66.5 for Scotty Scheffler. And to finish off our entry, we're going to take a scorcher from the Cardinals game. Mason Wynn in the Rickwood Field game, higher than 1.5 total bases. And you can always build on those entries before you hit send. Underdog Fantasy, super easy to play and even easier to get started. You just go to that easy-to-use mobile app or to underdogfantasy.com, sign up with the promo code ROCC. And Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick'em entry and a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC to claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus in President's Day where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play code. 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
thebuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
It is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Danny Mac, Brooke Grimsley, Matthew Rocchio, Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us, and we want you to get your text in now. 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO. Brooke is recording the Redbird Report right now. She's going to stroll back into the studio in a moment. Kids, are you okay there, Matthew?
I got a little spot in my throat during my live read, and it's just I can't get rid of it. And so I'm just like I keep like coughing and like trying to drink, and then it went down the wrong pipe. It's Brooks recording. I'm dying. You guys kind of take it from here.
Okay. All right. Guys, take it or leave it. And I like the initiative that Major League Baseball has taken with Rickwood Field tonight, with the Little League World Series park that the Major League Baseball players play in, with the Field of Dreams. But take it or leave it. Even though we as baseball fans like it, it helps baseball to do things like this.
I totally agree. And that was my take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Major League Baseball once a month should come up with some type of themed game. So you go to London, you got Little League, you got tribute to the Negro Leagues. Now, I understand that scheduling can be tough and it's not easy to do, but find a way to do it. And I think it's good for the game. I think more people, Field of Dreams. And if you're going to put these games on national television, which they are, it's a great way to expose the game to the casual fan here in the United States that doesn't follow it as much. I bet they would watch these games more so than just a regular season game.
And the other part of this that I like is that tonight's game starts at 6:15. Now, I know kids don't have school. It's June. But little kids still, some parents like to get their kids to bed at a more reasonable time than 11 o'clock, which is what you would, if you have Yankees and Red Sox starting at 7:15, it's going to end at 11 o'clock.
Right.
So I like the fact that with shorter games, it starts at 6:15 so that the baseball can start to cultivate these younger fans.
I think it's really cool, and I think it's really important. So I'm going to take it because it just really educates so many fans in general, even if you're a fan of baseball, of really understanding the history of it. By the way, the Cardinals will be wearing the St. Louis Stars uniform tonight, which I think is really cool, of just understanding the history of everything. And to honor Willie Mays in this way, too, will be great.
The Cardinals have a St. Louis Stars cap giveaway coming up. I want to get that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool
It
cap.
is. I'm going to go and follow up on Brooks' point. I think you're 100% right. This is about teaching and learning about history and making sure it never, ever repeats itself. Learn about what these guys went through. And I hope that they get to a little bit of the nitty-gritty of that stuff. And I understand it'll be a tribute to Willie Mays, which it should be. But it also should be an ode to the Negro Leagues and just how great these players were and how important they are to our country.
I'm going to stick with Willie Mays. Just another idea that I have here. Take it or leave it. Major League Baseball should retire the number 24.
I think that's a really good idea. They've already done it with 42. There's so many people that believe that Willie Mays was the greatest player of all time. I would not be averse to that. Heck, I think the Cardinals could do it without any problems at all.
I don't know if he'd do it, though, because he wasn't the one that broke the color barrier.
Yeah.
Clemente was such an impactful player coming from Puerto Rico. I'm not sure you do it. I mean, there's so many, because then they'll say, well, should you retire Stan's number across Major League Baseball? Should 5 be, when you look back at Albert Pujols' career, you're going to say it's one of the greatest players that ever played. Do you do that? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with that one.
The thing with Mays, though, is, this is a guy that had songs written about him. He was as great as Stan was from 1951 until he retired. Once Willie Mays showed up, he was the guy.
Yeah.
And he played there at the same time as Mantle, and great as Mantle was, Willie Mays was the guy. I can go either way with this. Especially, you look at a team like the Cardinals, they don't have an awful lot of numbers left. Now, 24 is already retired for the Cardinals, but there are teams like the Cardinals and the Yankees that are kind of running out of good numbers.
They are. I love the idea of making Willie Mays and his swing the logo.
I think that's a great idea.
I think that's maybe the direction I'd go in. And I'd make him the logo. And Jerry West has it on the basketball for the NBA, and I'd make Willie Mays the logo for Major League Baseball.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got on the text line there, Matthew Rocchio?
Take it or leave it. Jordan Walker will not be back in the majors this season.
Oh, I'm going to
leave.
I'm going to take it.
Really?
Yeah, I am.
Why are you going to take it?
I really took to heart what Mo said a couple of weeks ago about Jordan Walker being rushed to the major leagues, never getting a full year at AAA. I think this is his full year at AAA.
I can see both. I could see that, and I could also see them, not to be on the fence with this, but I could also see them at some point bringing him up and giving him a little reward for the hard work that he's put together at AAA. The problem is that you can't have him come up and not play, and you can't have him come up here and get buried, because if that happens again, that's a real problem, I think, mentally for a young man trying to get back to the major leagues.
After the trade deadline, do you see him coming up?
Depends who you get in the trades.
Yeah. Well, I don't. He's going to have to really dramatically change what he's doing from a process standpoint. I'm not so sure that it matters what Jordan Walker's numbers are in terms of his baseball numbers. I think it's all about launch angle and walk rate and things like that. It's nebulous what the Cardinals do in terms of bringing players up.
And you said the trade deadline. What if you trade for an outfielder? Where does he play? Then you got Newbar, you got Edman, you got Burleson, you got Ciani coming off your bench. I don't know where he'd fit, at least at this point, with that group of players that you have if he's not putting up numbers.
Last night, 0 for 2 for J-Dub, by the way, with a walk and a strikeout. And Contreras went 0 for 2, but also had a sac fly last night for your Memphis Redbirds. Oh, by the way, let's note that Gordon Graceffo went 5 shutout innings, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk.
I like this one. Take it or leave it. Connor McDavid is the greatest hockey player of all time that you've seen.
That you've seen?
Yeah, I got to leave that. I saw Gretzky and I saw Lemieux.
I saw Gretzky, Lemieux, saw Bobby Orr.
Oh,
that's another one that would come to mind.
Ovechkin.
But how much has the game changed, though, with the clutching, the grabbing, the fact that you don't have as much ice to work with, that in this modern day and age of hockey, he's remarkable in what he's able to do. He'll go down as one of the greatest players that ever played this game.
Oh, yeah. And if you just look at physical attributes and don't throw out the fact that if you took away all of Wayne Gretzky's goals, he'd still have more points than anybody in the history of the game. Take that out of it. The fact that Connor McDavid is so big and so strong and so deft with the stick is unbelievable. From a skill standpoint, it's probably he and Mario. Just from the toolbox that you need to be great.
I think also it comes down to the argument of the era that you played in. This is just a different era of hockey. But, man, for the era that he's playing in, it's just unseen. He's incredible at how good he is.
And Brooke brought up Ovi. I think Ovi's the best pure goal scorer of all time because of the era in which he's scoring all of these goals.
I would happen to agree with that.
It was a lot easier to score goals. Not that it was easy, but it was a different way to score goals when people like Brett Hull and Steve Yzerman and Gretzky and Messi and all those guys were playing.
What about the butterfly stance?
Yep, that's changed things too.
Come on now.
We didn't even bring up Sidney Crosby. Sorry.
Okay. No, he's a stud. He's an absolute stud.
Bang. Great point. Take it or leave it. STL will see a playoff team this October.
I'm going to take that.
A Cardinal playoff team?
They said playoff team. Two sports
I'll take it too. I'll take it.
I think the Cardinals can make and probably will make the playoffs. I think they're going to make some adjustments at the trade deadline. I'm not saying it's going to be a great team, but the way that things are going, you hang around 500, you make a run, you got a chance. And Matthew's laughing at me.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I love it when we get stuff on the text line. Someone just goes, Google Gussie Busch. Yeah.
Why do I need to Google Gussie Busch?
I've never learned about him before. Teach me, please.
Is he the best hockey player of all time?
I don't know. He's talking about Google Gussie Busch, where are all the blackball players? And I'm just like, it's such a weird non sequitur because I'm like, do you think the people that you're texting this into just have never heard of Gussie Busch or baseball history? It's just we get weird texts like that, and I just chuckle.
Take it or leave it.
Google Gussie Busch.
If somebody brought you to their house to interview for you for a job and offered you a blood sausage sandwich and a Budweiser, you would take the job.
Gussie used to do that a lot with guys.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I got to
eat the sandwich.
I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be really honest. I hope I wasn't offending anybody, but that doesn't sound like a good sandwich.
Me either.
It's nasty.
That's what they had when Whitey came in here in 1980 to Gussie Busch's house and goods for him.
No, it just sounds awful.
It does.
So my favorite Gussie Busch is when he got into it. Well, Al got into it with the manager, Vern Rapp, and came back. And I don't know how Al did it. You got to see Al every day, so maybe you know better than I. But Al left for the All-Star break clean-shaven because Vern Rapp wanted clean-shaven players. And then he came back looking like Lance Lynn. He had a full beard. And so he was defying Vern Rapp's rule against beards. And Gussie stepped in, held a press conference, and said, Al, to say I'm disappointed in you would be an understatement.
Right.
But you grow your beard, but you damn well better pitch well.
Right.
So, and Al, he didn't pitch well down the stretch.
How did that rule help Mr. Vern Rapp win games?
It didn't. It didn't. He was. I guess he was kind of a Richard. The great
Shocker.
The great Ted Simmons.
Guys couldn't stand him.
No, he was the worst.
Facial hair
I
has
should
nothing to
say
do
he
with
was the
hitting the
worst.
ball.
I but he was not great.
No.
As a manager.
Oh,
So Gussie, it was fun to have the owner. Al, to say I'm disappointed in you would be an understatement. It was great to hear the owner of the team having that sort of a press conference.
Take it or leave it. No matter what Mo does at the deadline, people are going to hate it.
I'll take that 100%.
I'll take that 100%.
What's he wearing that day?
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh, maybe a better question is, what could he do that people will be very excited about?
What could he wear to make people like him better?
He does
Carhartt.
have. Oh.
Carhartt overalls.
Oh, yeah, that's
Let's
true.
go
Good
all
point.
the way.
Yeah.
No.
Sleeveless overalls, no undershirt. Just show up at the press conference. I'm ready to go.
Piece of weed sticking out of his mouth.
Straw hat.
Hobo stick over his shoulder.
Lunch pail. Yeah.
There we go.
That's the mindset we're doing there. I do enjoy the different eras of Mozeliak and his clothing choices.
Me too. Fun.
The bow tie is an ode to his grandfather who passed away.
Oh, see, that's nice.
Yeah, that's why he wears it.
And I have no problem. As
Does he wear it still?
Yeah, he'll wear it occasionally.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Danny, as you can see, I'm not wearing socks. People highly offended by Mo not wearing socks.
I think you're the person who was highly offended. I was a wee bit, but yes, I think it was you. You were very disturbed. It is a new trend that a lot of guys don't wear. Well, there are socks, but I think they're the no-show socks, right?
Oh, I can do those.
Yeah,
yes.
no, but I'm saying you really couldn't see them.
What are the time parameters for new? Like the last 7 years? Is that the window we're giving?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. It's a wide window to be calling it new. But
there's also some guys who like to show off the socks still. That's newish.
And there are fashionable socks out there.
I think Brooke asked the right question.
Different strokes for
What would
folks.
make you happy with a trade that Mo made? You know, do you want to see him just say the heck with the minor league system and dump all those guys and go out and go for it this year? I mean, I think people would be excited. I don't know if they'd be happy.
I think the problem, though, I think everybody will be, not everybody, but I think a lot of people will be unhappy because of what's available, because everybody's going to be in the hunt. There's only going to be like 5 or 6 or 7 teams that aren't going to be in the playoff race.
Yeah.
They're going to want to trade their good players.
No, and they're going to wind up. The trade deadline this year is as fascinating as it gets, just because of the mediocrity that's in the game, and everybody feels that they're in it for the most part. And if you haven't been in it for a while, you go for it. Mm-hmm. So it makes it even harder to make deals.
Yeah, I would think Pittsburgh would probably be logically more aggressive.
Yes.
The Royals would logically be more aggressive.
Those are the teams I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Coming up here, you got one more fun one?
Mo wears a Nike sweatsuit and flip-flops, smoking a Marlboro and drinking a Busch Light. 980
That'll
says,
make me happy.
If Mo showed up in a Belichick sleeveless hoodie, I would know that he's serious then.
That would be awesome.
That would be great. We got to tell him that.
He just needs to become the Pobo Hobo.
That's great. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we've got our fresh take. What's Steven Matz's role going to be when he returns to the roster? Steven Matz is returning to the roster? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want you to know about Paul Goldschmidt Field. It's at the South County YMCA, and it is a product of the Gateway Region YMCA, along with the Boniface Foundation and Cardinals Care. And they recognize that one of the things that we've lacked here in St. Louis is the ability to have fields for people that are dealing with sorts of handicaps. And so what they've got is what's called a Miracle Field at the South County Y, and it allows athletes of all abilities to be able to play baseball and to play other sports. And they've got a great playground out there, and they still have an ability for you, if you would so like to get involved with Paul Goldschmidt Field. The Miracle Field and the Miracle League Baseball Field for kids with disabilities is something that we haven't had here in St. Louis, and it's awesome to have it in St. Louis right now. And you can still get involved. All you need to do is go to gwrymca.org, Gateway Region YMCA.org, and there's some great recognition opportunities for you and your business starting at just $500. It's the Paul Goldschmidt Field for kids and adults with disabilities. Learn more at gwrymca.org.
perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker. It is 8:07. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Guys, Steven Matz apparently is going to be back with the Cardinals at some point, although he's had another setback with the back, which is not great, and the Cardinals would like to get him back. My question, though, is this. Would it be better to send him out for 4 starts on a rehab assignment, the full 30 days, maybe 5, and get him through essentially what would be a second to spring training? So if you could do that next week, which seems implausible, but you would be able to get him back. If you would send him out next week, you could get him back at the end of July. So you'd have him for the last 2 months of the season. Would it be smarter to do that, or to have him gear himself to being a relief pitcher and come in and throw 1 or 2 innings? So rather than taking a month to get him back, once he's healthy, you could get him back in 2 weeks. Would you rather have him for an extra 2 weeks of the season as a relief pitcher?
I would rather have him be in the bullpen, honestly. I think we saw last year how well he handled things. In 16 innings last season, over 8 appearances, he had a 2.81 ERA, and he was very effective coming out of the pen. And now I know that he also came back effective as a starter, too, because he earned that right to be a starter again, but then he was injured. So I would rather see him healthy in the bullpen, honestly, at this point.
So what do you do with Palante? And that's what it comes down to. Are you more comfortable with Palante being your number 5, or is it Steven Matz? You have to ask that question. And the other question would be, are you going to go out and get another starter at the trade deadline? So if I'm getting a starter, he goes to the bullpen. He's been much better there. Matthew Liberatore is not an answer in the rotation. That's for sure. As a reliever, he's got a 2.92 ERA. As a starter, he's got a 9.28 ERA in 10 2/3. So he's not an option. So to me, it comes down to Palante or Matz, and then it comes down to what I do at the trade deadline. And if I do something at the trade deadline, then Steven Matz for me would go to my bullpen.
Yeah, I'm with you. And by the way, I do think the addition of Kloffenstein is interesting. I think the other point we need to make is that Graceffo now is 8-5 with a 3.84, and he has been much more effective lately. And they're actually getting work now out of Tekoa Roby, whom they've always liked the stuff of. It seems like there are, all of a sudden, more starting options available at the minor league level than there have been all year long.
The question I would have, though, do those numbers translate to the major leagues? It's kind of like what we're talking about with Jordan Walker. If he goes on a tear, is it just a bunch of singles and you're looking for power out of him? And are you seeing some of the tangibles that you want to see out of him to make him a viable major league outfielder? I would ask the same question with some of these starters. You know, the numbers may look good, but will it translate to Major League Baseball? And I don't have the answers to that. And the Cardinals, as we know, are very process oriented. They don't use the eye test, but let's just use the stats test. In June, Graceffo 4-0 with a 2.05, 22 innings. He struck out 21 and walked 6 with 17 hits allowed in the 22 innings. The other thing about Matz that would make it interesting too is multiple innings. He should be stretched out enough to give you 2 innings at least. I'm with you guys. I'm totally on the Matz in the bullpen. I'm on that team because I'm convinced that if you use a full month of his contract to get him ready to start again in August and September, I think he's going to get hurt. Yeah. So I like Steven in the bullpen too, and his stuff translates to the bullpen. Not a lot of guys can go down to the bullpen and have their stuff translate. If you just say, okay, go air it out for a couple of innings, I think he has a chance to be really good down there.
I think he does, but you brought up the contract. Is that going to be a big thing at play here, where you're still trying to get the most out of that contract with him as a starter?
I hope not. I hope that they've learned what they have. We're 3 years in now.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah. At this point, you're going to have a year and a half left on that deal. Yeah. Get the most out of it, which probably is in the bullpen. Yeah.
Andre Palante, I think, is another interesting question here, because don't you feel like they're just kind of hoping that he's able to get them through to the trade deadline? And what do you think about his issues, too, with facing right-handed hitters? Is that something that he can clean up a bit?
I think that's an issue. Now, historically, he's had the interesting lefty splits, right? Really good. But I like his stuff. I just don't know if... Let me put it this way. I'm of the belief, I've seen enough Cardinal baseball over the years, that September baseball is so different. I don't know if I trust him in September.
Yeah, I think that's legitimate. I don't know if I trust a lot of guys in September looking at this, but I think the point would be to what you're saying, Brooke, and it's a good one, is are you looking at targeting a starter? And if you are, can Palante buy you enough time, or does Steven Matz buy you enough time? And I think that's the question that they have to answer moving forward here in the next, 4.5 weeks until the trade deadline is here, which would mean he'd get 4 or 5 starts. Yeah, it's something to think about for sure.
I think that's the position they're in. And you just worry about the bullpen and how much this is taxing them. And we brought this up earlier. You have Kloffenstein. It'll be interesting to see how he's utilized in this situation. And then you also have Giovanny Gallegos, which I know doesn't excite many fans when you hear that name, because we've, of course, seen his struggles and we've talked a lot about it. But is that just another arm to have in your bullpen as an option? Can you at least salvage something from Gallegos?
I hope so. And he's a really, really good guy, and he tries hard, right? And he's been productive in the past for the Cardinals. But, man, I was at for those that aren't aware, I think almost everybody is. My son's a Giants fan, and we were sitting at a Giants game last year, and the Cardinals are up a run, maybe up 2, heading into the 9th, and Gallegos comes in. And I said to Patrick, how do you feel about this game? He said, great.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Gallegos gives it up. And that's what I feel now. When I have no confidence when he comes into a game now.
I think you let him come back and see what you have. And if he starts getting knocked around, then you have to look at other options, because his stuff did not play in the major leagues. What I saw, and maybe it's because of injury, maybe it's a lack of confidence, maybe it's a little bit of both, but I'm just looking at how hard he's throwing and the bite on his breaking ball, and that's not major league caliber.
So
it's just not.
Yeah, no, it's not whatsoever. How do you think that the Cardinals play this today with Kloffenstein and Andre Palante as your scheduled starter?
I wonder if he's a piggyback. And obviously they made this move because they didn't have Liberatore available for today. I wonder how they do treat it. I would think that Kloffenstein will be a piggyback, kind of. Hopefully Palante can give you what he gave you his last start and his first start, and maybe give you 6. But if he's only going to give you 3 1/3, Kloffenstein is a nice piggyback.
I think if you're down by a lot, he comes in the game, and that's how he gets his feet wet in the major leagues. Now, they should have some guys available, despite the fact that they have dealt with extra inning games. Some of the guys that, and I mean, like, and if, let's say he gives you 6, you should have Helsley, you should have JoJo Romero, you should have Kittredge, which then takes that out of the equation. But if you're getting beat up, I don't think in a tight game he comes in. I could be wrong, and only Ollie knows the availability of the guys that he feels are completely not rested but available to go. But in a tight game, I'm not sure I want him making his major league debut on a national stage like tonight.
No, not whatsoever.
And Keaton Wynn, the starter for the Giants tonight, it's kind of scary news. His earned run average, 6.66.
That is not good. It's a little scary.
It
Feels
is.
very scary.
A little scary.
That's today's Fresh Take here on 101 ESPN. Next up, we're going to try Greg Amsinger again. We're going to call him till he answers. And then we'll, if we don't have, we'll just do MLB Storylines here on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. The Cardinals falling to the Marlins 4-3 yesterday in the series finale. The walk-off win for Miami was a painful loss in more ways than one for the Cardinals. Scheduled starter Kyle Gibson was scratched just minutes before the game due to back tightness, forcing Matthew Liberatore into an emergency start. Liberatore gave up back-to-back home runs to the first 2 hitters he faced. He then settled down, allowing 3 hits, 1 walk, and 2 runs in 3 2/3. Then in the 8th inning, Nolan Arenado was hit by a pitch on his right elbow and was forced to leave the game. The initial report was that he suffered a contusion but was undergoing further medical evaluation. X-rays were negative and his status was listed as day-to-day. The Cardinals will be in Birmingham, Alabama today as they play the Giants at historic Rickwood Field, a game honoring the stars of the Negro Leagues. The Cardinals will wear the uniforms honoring the St. Louis Stars. First pitch is at 6:15. Andre Palante is the scheduled starter.
The Redbird report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Hey, it's Danny Mack on this Thursday for Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home, maybe you need to refinance, and you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, let me tell you, the guy you have to go to is Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, and he joins us here on 101 ESPN. Stewie, good morning. What's going on with FHA loans right now?
Danny, a lot of people have been suckered in to get those FHA loans. If you got an FHA loan and you borrowed more than 90%, the nasty thing called PMI never goes away. So if you got that loan within the last year, call us up. Let us refinance that loan into a conventional loan. If it's more than $200,000, it won't cost you a dime. You'll get rid of the PMI. At minimum, it will be lower than it is with FHA. FHA is much higher. So take the opportunity, switch from FHA to conventional with the bagel loan. No closing costs, and save that money.
So call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. He's going to help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table fast. Try just 10 days, and he'll get you the best interest rate possible. He also has the bagel loan, as he mentioned. That can help you out, too. So what's the bagel loan? If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewie, he is your guy. He makes it easy. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewart a call. Here's his direct personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Or Stewie, what can you Google?
The bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
All right, we're going to continue to effort Greg Amsinger until he gets tired.
Come on, Greg.
I think you're just you keep wanting to call him until he answers. He's sleeping.
That's kind of the goal, yeah.
What time is it in Birmingham?
He does have a big day of work. I think Birmingham is Central Time. I think the whole state of Alabama might be Central Time.
I mean, worst case scenario, it's an hour later.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So we've got some MLB headlines for you. MLB Storylines. Danny Mack, what do you got?
Well, I got a couple of teams I'm looking at the American League. Despite hitting .221 as a team, and they've only scored 22 more runs than their opponents, the Seattle Mariners have a 9-game lead over Houston and the Texas Rangers. So how are they doing it? They're playing well at home. They're 17 games above 500. The pitching, though, is what stands out. Under 3.5 team ERA, only .634 the OPS against. And the other team I'm looking at that is leading their division, it's the Yankees. They get the return of Garrett Cole. When they score 3 or more runs, they've won 81% of their games. That's how good their starting pitching has has been. And then the other guy with the Yankees is Juan Soto, guys. He is in his 8th season and already one walk away from 700 in his career. And when that happens, he'll be the first ever to walk 700 times before turning the age of 26. So 2 teams to look at in the American League, and looking at a star and a guy that's probably a future Hall of Famer in Juan Soto.
The fact they're getting Garrett Cole back, too, is huge.
Yeah. They as great as their starting pitching has been, Brooke, they really didn't have an ace, right?
Yeah.
They have the ace now in Cole coming back and striking out 5. Brian Cashman has been as vilified in New York as John Mozeliak has here.
Maybe even more.
Maybe even more. Yeah, but you're not hearing and seeing the complaints as much right now.
No.
Some of those deals that they made for minor leaguers from a few years ago, guys you never heard about, are turning out to be studs for the Yankees. So they deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, they really do.
Getting Cole back is huge, as we mentioned there. And I just think it's really interesting. And now, of course, the IL gods give and they taketh, right? So you have Rizzo going on the 60-day IL, I believe is what I saw, the report coming out. But Cole getting him back, and he pitched last night, and he looked pretty well. His fastball velocity, like, touching 97. So I think that that's a good sign for him. For me, my storyline that I'm watching, and we've talked about this a lot, but it seems like things are moving a little bit more forward with what they're doing with the ball and strike challenge system. Major League Baseball appears to be closer to implementing the automated ball and strike challenge system across the board. The league sent out a memo to minor league club directors on Tuesday announcing that starting on June 25th, all AAA games will use the ABS challenge system full-time. Now, I thought this was interesting because ESPN also reported that in this memo, it seems like players, coaches, and fans would rather see the challenge system over the full ABS system. Do you guys agree with that?
We talked about this yesterday, and I don't. I want to get calls right, but I miss the good old-fashioned argument, and I think that's the one part of the human element of the game that you really can get is balls and strikes. Although, ultimately, I want to see the call made right. It would be a challenge system in the major leagues, which kind of makes it interesting in how you do it. But, Randy, I'd look at I don't know. I'd look at this as being a deterrent for the game, even though some of these strike zones are terrible. I thought yesterday at times in the Cardinals game was terrible. But that's part of the game that I kind of enjoy. Right or wrong.
It's fun to be able to complain, right? We do want to get it right all the time. But I think one thing that we fail to recognize is outside of a few umpires, most of the umpires are well into the 90s percentile-wise, past 95, in terms of getting ball strike calls correct, according to the system that Major League Baseball has in place where they grade the umpires.
I thought at times C.B. Buckner yesterday, not shocking to say this, but was awful. There were some awful
He's the
calls.
worst. Now with Angel Hernandez retired, C.B. Buckner is he is secretary in the Belmont. Yeah, it's a 31-length lead over the second worst.
I think it was the 5th inning. Jake Berger was up to bat. The Marlins had a man on base. And Pedro Pages framed a 1-2 pitch from low and outside.
That's
and
the
he
one.
framed it high and in the middle. Full 8-inch frame job. And Buckner rings up Berger. And Buckner, without any, just unabashedly confident, just side-eyeing Berger, waiting for him to complain about the most BS call of the day. And Berger, to his credit, just walks right back. But Buckner just side-eyeing him like, come on, you know I'm bad at my job. Say something.
It basically was in the left-hander's batter's box. It was terrible.
Terrible. So bad. By the way, I sent this text to Brad Thompson, and sadly he didn't use it on the air. But
oh, no.
Has Major League Baseball completely failed if at some point during their careers Seth Beer and Jake Berger are not on the same team? if you don't have Beer and Berger on the same team at some point.
And that just says baseball.
It does.
It does,
right?
yes.
I need them to play for the Red Sox.
Yeah,
I need them to play for the Red Sox.
It
works perfectly.
Yeah.
The chicken and beer jokes would just are just right there on top of it. Just run with it,
guys. Here is an update from the great LA Dodgers, and I did this earlier in the season. But think about this: they have a rotation of Yoshi Yamamoto, Walker Buehler, Tony Gonsolin, Michael Grove, and Clayton Kershaw on the IL.
Yeah,
their bullpen on the IL would be Dustin May. I guess he'd be your 6th starter, along with Ryan Brazier, Brewster Gratterall, Joe Kelly, and Emmett Sheehan. They have a major league staff for at least 2/3 of the major league teams that's on the IL, and they're still great.
And they'll be awesome in the second half.
They're going to be unbelievable.
When they get these guys back, and they've always kind of been here historically in recent years. an incredible team in the second half. As other teams kind of wear down, they just seem to get better. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline, but they'll be dominant in the second half of the season.
I would think that they'll go get a shortstop at some point. And I don't know who it's going to be, but I would think that with Betts down for 6 to 8 weeks, that they'll take a look at who they got. I think they probably already know that Gavin Lux isn't going to be the guy. But and I think they're playing the guy they got from Cleveland last year. But they'll go get a good shortstop, and they'll wind up being really good.
Yeah. The Dodgers, it just doesn't seem fair, but that's why it feels like World Series or bust for them, because it's just a super team with what they're doing and what they've built.
They're really good. Rojas, by the way, Miguel Rojas.
Yeah, there you go.
Is going to be their shortstop. They are a super team.
By the way, Katie Wu of The Athletic, she just tweeted this out. Adam Kloffenstein will join the active roster today for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are also permitted to add an additional position player to serve as the 27th man tonight. That will be Victor Scott III.
Oh, good. That's great.
It makes sense because they're bringing up African-American players, minor league guys, and he was not one of them that we heard about. I think Jordan Walker was one. Maybe Tink Hence was another.
He will be there. Tink Hence will be there, but just not playing.
Yeah, and they didn't have Victor Scott, and I thought, man, that doesn't make any sense. Well, now we get the answer. He will be there and be active for the Cardinals.
Yeah. Good. By the way, going back to the Dodgers one moment, I forgot to mention this Shohei Ohtani guy who's also not able to pitch because of an arm injury.
Have you thought about the rotation they're going to have next year if they stay healthy with Dustin May back? You got Buehler back healthy and Ohtani back healthy.
And Tony Gonsolin?
There's another one. It's not bad.
No,
it's pretty good.
They're loaded.
You know, it's interesting tonight with Victor Scott. That's a look at maybe the expanded roster that you have in September. You know, a lot of times they would just bring up a guy that whether or not he could hit with the expanded rosters that you used to have, you'd bring up a speedster because he can make a difference in a game.
Yeah.
Not only can he make a difference once he's on the team and running bases, but what he does defensively late in games.
Right.
You could put him in as a defensive replacement. That wouldn't shock me if they did that tonight.
Yeah, he could be this year's Adron Chambers.
Well, that's a good example.
Yeah, he did it right.
It really is.
He was brought up for his speed.
Yep.
And made a difference in September and then in the postseason.
And then you're able to take Burleson out late in games, and that would be something I'd look at too.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see because these days you only get to increase your roster by 2 up to 28. Do the Cardinals, and we're a long ways away from that, but normally it's 2 pitchers if you're in the hunt. But maybe the Cardinals do either a Scott or a Jordan Walker so that they can have more thump.
Well, you had
more speed.
And you have deficiencies in the outfield.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball will find Burleson at times. He made a very nice play yesterday falling back, but a lot of guys go back on that ball and make it casually with a catch. And then the final base hit to win the game. You know, he's coming in, bobbled it, tried to throw, couldn't get rid of it. And I'm not knocking him. I mean, you're going to have that happen in games, but you'd probably put better defensive players with a lead or a tie game in the outfield.
Good point. Dan, Brooke, Randy, and Matthew. And coming up, we've got the fight. Matthew, you need a fighter today?
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, if you want to fight, text in the word fight with your name to 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! And maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN. Hey, when you're selling your home, the agent that you choose to sell your home matters. You need a written guarantee that you'll get your desired price and be able to close in your time frame. And if you don't, then you need to call Gloria Lou, because she'll provide that for you, eliminating the guesswork. And that's exactly what Gloria Lou does. I'm sure you also want the most money, right? And Gloria already has buyers, thousands of them, in fact, that are looking for a home just like yours and are willing to pay top dollar. That's a pretty cool feature that Gloria Lou has, and she can get it for you because she's been doing it for 20 years. She can guarantee the sale of your home because of those buyers that have been in place in a database that she's put together over 20 years that have gone into her career. And that's how Gloria nets you the most money and creates the highest demand. Many times with multiple offers, and that means more money in your pocket. Give Gloria Lou a call if you're considering selling your home. The number 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit her on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
The summer heat and humidity will be here soon. Is your air conditioner ready? This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your air conditioner is around 10 years old, it's time to think about replacing it. For a limited time, get double carrier cool cash rebates for up to $4,200 on qualifying HVAC equipment and 0% financing for up to 72 months. With 55 years of award-winning service, you can trust Air Comfort Service with your new AC installation. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, Jay Delsing here. Join me every Sunday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for Golf with Jay Delsing. Brought to you by Darty Business Solutions. It's the biggest names in golf right here on 101 ESPN.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Want to hear from you? Text us at 314-399-9646 on the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals dropped the series to the Marlins 2-3 after a 4-3 loss. Otto Lopez in the ninth inning scores Tim Anderson to give the Marlins their second win. Matthew Liberatore got thrown into a start that he wasn't expecting after Kyle Gibson got pulled. 3 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and of course his first 2 batters were 2 home runs. Cardinals will go for a win with a new series against the Giants. 6:15 tonight from Rickwood Field. It'll be Keaton Wynn, the righty for the Giants, facing off against Andre Palante for the Cardinals. Palante on the season 2-3 with a 4.61 ERA. Cardinals will then have tomorrow off before finishing off the series back here at home. Stanley Cup final tomorrow, Game 6 right here on 101 ESPN from Edmonton. Pregame starts at 6:30. And last night from City Park, St. Louis City falls 3-0 to the Colorado Rapids. They have now gone 7 straight games without a win. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, and Rockio here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Steven. Steven, how are you doing?
Doing great. Just listening to my 3 boys.
Oh, nice. We say hi to your 3 boys.
All right. Yeah. Jacob, Luke, twins, and my little one, Caleb.
Aww. Are they ready to help you in the fight? Are they going to be able to help you out in the fight, maybe?
Oh, they're really into it. So we normally catch the 4 o'clock gauntlet, so we're really excited for the morning one.
Nice.
Well, let's do it then. Let's go. Let's see if your little guys can help you. That's okay to have a little help today. We don't mind it. It's not cheating.
Thank you.
You ready for question number 1, Steven and boys?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Who broke Marshall Faulk's record for single-season yards from scrimmage? Was it Christian McCaffrey, Darren Sproles, or Chris Johnson?
Oh, damn. I don't think it was Chris Sproles or Darren Sproles. I'll go with single yards from scrimmage. No, Chris Johnson had 2,000 yards rushing. I'm not sure how many receiving yards he had. I'll go Chris Johnson. I know he had a lot of rushing yards.
All right. During the Rams 1-15 2009 campaign, who led the team in receiving yards with 589 in 16 starts? Was it Donnie Avery, Steven Jackson, or Danny Amendola?
2009. He said, how many yards? 568?
589.
589. That's pretty
I know that's going
pathetic.
to help you narrow it down now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty pathetic for her to lead the team in yards.
You bet it is.
I know Steven Jackson had a lot of swing passes and screen catches, and they had a lot of catches one year. 189. Let's go Steven Jackson. I know it's running back, but he had a lot of catches one year, so I might have added up.
All right, Steven Jackson, final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right, question 3.
Who was the last running back to lead the league in rushing in back-to-back seasons? Is it Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, or Ezekiel Elliott?
Let's go Derrick Henry. Let's not overthink that.
All right, and question 4, there has been just one tie in MLB's MVP voting between Cardinals first baseman Keith Hernandez and which other National League hitter? Dave Winfield, Dave Kingman, or Willie Stargell?
Oh, so Keith Hernandez probably in 80s. Repeat those names again. Jacob,
It was 79, by the way, but it's
79.
Dave Winfield, Dave Kingman, or Willie Stargell.
I feel like I have no clue. Let's go with Dave Winfield. Want to go Dave Winfield? Let's go Dave Winfield.
All right, let me go grab Randall.
How are you feeling, Steven?
Oh man, those are kind of tough on Randy there today.
Yeah. Well, I liked how you had kind of the same Randy process where you kind of talk through a lot of it. It was very Randy-ish style.
Yeah, Appreciate that. Hopefully I got lucky guesses there.
Here's Randy walking into the room now. No grapes inside. They must already be demolished.
I had a banana earlier, Brooke.
Oh.
I was too lazy to clean grapes this morning, so I picked up a banana.
Banana works as well. Say hi to Steven, Randy.
Steven, hey, how you doing? I just got, I was in the hallway with Moon and Rafe from the Riz Show. They got kicked out of their studio, too, for a contest. Yeah. So,
how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for playing with us, and thanks for being a part of the show. We really appreciate it.
We do, too. Thank you.
Steven has his kids with him as well. They're up this morning.
And I let them be a part of this, Randy. So it's you against 4 others.
I'm glad. This is good.
Jacob, Luke, and Caleb.
Okay. Jacob, Luke, and Caleb, hi. Thanks for listening. Good to have you with us.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Aww. That's so cute. All right. It's you against them, Randy.
Yeah.
Ready for question number 1?
You can't beat kids.
Exactly. So you should feel bad if you win.
If I will, I promise.
Who broke Marshall Faulk's record for single-season yards from scrimmage?
Single-season yards from scrimmage. Marshall, who has broken that record? This is, single season. I know Priest Holmes beat him in touchdowns. It would seem like LaDainian Tomlinson could have done that, but I think it might be a wide receiver. It could be. Yeah, no, it's probably not. So, Marshall had 1380 70th. So we're talking 2,500 yards. I'll do the lifeline just in case, Brooke.
Christian McCaffrey, Darren Sproles, or Chris Johnson?
But Sproles would have not been from scrimmage. CJ, what was his nickname? CJ what? CJ 2K, that's right, 2000. He had 2,000 yards. I think I might go with him because he might have had 2,000 yards against the Rams in a game. So I'll go with CJ 2K.
Ready for question 2?
I am.
During the Rams' 1-15 2009 campaign, who led the team in receiving yards with 589 in 16 starts?
16 starts for the 2009 Rams. How many yards?
589.
Not great.
No.
Boy, I don't even remember that team. That was the Spags' first team. I'm going to go with the guy we got from Atlanta, but I don't remember his name. I forgot his name, darn it. He was LaRon Robinson. Nice. I'm going to go with LaRon Robinson.
Final answer?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Spelled Laurent, by the way.
Yeah.
Who was the last running back to lead the league in rushing in back-to-back seasons?
I'm just going to... Yeah, I don't think it was McCaffrey. Adrian Peterson's always a safe choice when you do this. I don't think there's a... Oh, I think I might go with Derrick Henry, though. I'm going to try Derrick Henry of your Titans.
It's not there anymore.
I know. But he did lead the league in rushing.
I'm still trying to...
Hashtag sad.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. There has been just one tie in MLB's MVP voting between Cardinals first baseman Keith Hernandez and which other National League hitter?
Oh, man. Okay, it was Willie Stargell.
I knew you were going to go through all these options, and you knew it right off the top of your head.
Matthew said, don't play with your food. So, number 8, Pops Willie Stargell. We are family.
All right.
It's mean to both me and the fighter. We have...
Fighters.
Yeah, you're right. We have a winner in today's fight. Was that last little cheeky answer by Randy Carricker enough to get him a win today? Or does Steve and company, with a little help from Jacob, Luke, and Caleb, walk away with a victory? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
I'm sorry, Stephen. Randy Carricker, unfortunately, he got you 3-2.
I knew that last question was going to hurt.
Yeah, that's where the game was decided, because you guys both got 1 and 3 right. You guys both got 2 wrong, and then 4 is where everything changed. Let's go through the questions and answers. Who broke Marshall Faulk's record for single-season yards from scrimmage? He set it in 1999 with 24.29. It was 2009 when CJ2K went off for 25.09, breaking the record by 80 yards. By the way, in 2019, Christian McCaffrey put up 23.92. So 1999, 09, 2019. Watch out for running backs in 2029, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a surprising season.
And by the way, total yards, total combined yards, I think Terry Metcalf still might be in the top 5 all time for a single season.
I think so. And you correctly threw out that Darren Sproles' red herring there is he at one point had the record for the most all-purpose yards in a season. During the Rams' 1-15 2009 campaign, that's why I said it was weird when we were talking about the 08 and the other bad Rams teams earlier. Who led the league that team in receiving with 589 yards? It was actually Donnie Avery. It shocks me that he wasn't that bad of a pick, Randy. He led your team in receiving one year. Who was the last running back to lead the league in rushing in back-to-back seasons? Derrick Henry is a good way to go. 19 and 20 were those 2 seasons. And it was, in fact, Willie Stargell who tied with Keith Hernandez for the NL's MVP voting in 1979. Willie Stargell was 39 years old and 4 years removed from his last All-Star campaign when he won that MVP award. Absolutely insane to me. A 3-2 win, by the way, for Randy over Steve today. Steve, thank you again for joining the show and joining the fight. Hope you and the boys have a good day today.
All right, thank you. We will.
Sorry, kids. Happens.
Do you feel bad, Randy?
Oh. How would I feel if I got beat by a bunch of kids?
You stomp on them. That's all you do, Randy. You're here to win. Just win, baby.
Yeah. Here, can we have our machine here?
Our machine? Your machine.
Yeah.
The machine's back.
The machine.
There you go. 101 ESPN. Sorry about that, Kyle. I'm going to put you on hold. We're going to go to break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Perfect. Thank you so much.
These are kids, man.
Randy.
Kyle Gibson shouldn't have to do this.
Kyle's there.
Kyle Gibson's waiting.
Kyle Gibson's
and he's
next
here for
on.
this.
Kyle Gibson's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, you always want to get new customers, and making meaningful connections with your audience can be a daunting challenge for any business. And that's why you need to use social media, and that's why you need to use digital, and that's why you need to use 2060 Digital. It's our sister company, and it's backed by a 100-year-old media empire just like 101 ESPN. If you're a business owner or marketer seeking more strategic ways to reach and engage potential customers, look no further than 2060 Digital. They're going to help you with your social media, when to post, what pictures to post, how to get the most bang for your buck when you are using social media. And of course, they'll put together a great website for you, and they understand the algorithms of searches so that when you have your item out there, your category, when your category gets searched, you'll wind up on the first page when somebody does a search for you. 2060 Digital can make this happen, and they've got a great analytics team that can show you exactly how your company is being benefited. Get in touch with 2060 Digital. Go to 101ESPN.com/2060 Digital. honeymoon. Danny Mack is here. I'm Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And our friend Kyle Gibson joins us now from Birmingham, Alabama. Kyle, unfortunately, scratched from his start yesterday. And as a loyal listener to the show, he is scratched with a bad back. Kyle, how long have you been dealing with that?
Hey, good morning, guys. I had not been dealing with anything, actually, until about an hour before the game. It was really fluky. Never had that happen in my career like that. I was stretching in the weight room, and I stood up from one of my stretches, which I did not think was a serious movement. But I stood up from one of my stretches. I was like, oh, my left hip's a little sore. That's interesting. And 10 minutes later, by the time I got to the training room, I couldn't touch my toes. So it was crazy. Tried to do some stuff in the training room there, went out and played catch, and I honestly couldn't rotate over my front side. And at that point, I was like, listen, I'll try to throw a couple pitches off the mound here, but I think if you guys have somebody ready to go, it's probably a good plan because I couldn't move how I needed to. I couldn't rotate and honestly thought if I went out there for one inning, it was just going to put them in a tough spot anyway. So went into the training room and tried to get it loosened up to see if I could go down to the bullpen. And it feels a lot better today, but I just don't know, especially with how good Libby, got deeper into the game than maybe they even thought he would, and he did a great job picking me up there. So decided to not push it yesterday, and I'm feeling a lot better today.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better, and you mentioned that you are feeling better, but what is the next move now moving forward here for you?
I think we're going to look and see how I feel today and then just see which decisions and how they impact the rest of the rotation. If I go in there Saturday or Sunday, then the people after me are on 7 days rest instead of 5 or 6. So, I'm just going to sit back and make sure I'm feeling good here, which I think I will. I've had, anybody who has worked out has had a sore back or sore muscles from that workout, and that's kind of how I feel today. Like I did a heavy leg workout and I'm a little sore, but I don't have any doubt that whenever they need me out there, I'll be ready.
How cool is the event tonight that you're going to be a part of, and how excited are you and your teammates about participating in it?
Yeah, it's MLB and the teams really partner together with these cities and these stadiums and these teams to put together a really cool experience. This morning we're going to a local Boys and Girls Club. Mason Wynn and Ollie and I are going to a local Boys and Girls Club here to have a little event. It's going to be really cool. I grew up going to a Boys and Girls Club, and I understand how impactful those can be for a city and for after-school care and for, sports and stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, I think anytime you can bring light to history of our game or different cities that hosted leagues or games, I think it's really important. And, obviously with the unfortunate passing of Willie Mays, being in his hometown here, it'll be a somber reminder of losing him, but a really, really fitting and cool way to honor him and honor his family's legacy.
And Kyle, you're too young to have seen Willie Mays play, but you see all the highlights and then you look at the numbers, and I know you're a baseball fan. Man, what a player he was.
Yeah, what a player. There's, it's really, it really would have been something to see him here, obviously, but it's not going to work out. But what a player, and what a guy that at just the right time of the game that really kept laying groundwork like Jackie for people of color to be able to play and expand their role in the game and to really be a part of baseball history. And now that they've opened record books and more recognition for people in the Negro League as well, I think it's only going to open more eyes to what people of color have done in the game. And if you're a fan of baseball and you've been to Kansas City but you haven't been to the Negro League Museum, I would encourage you to go. It's a really cool experience and a really cool way to learn even more about how many good players are in that league.
We were discussing this earlier, Kyle, about how much from just the media side and fan side, how much we enjoy having games like this tonight, where you have all these big events. Field of Dreams, another very exciting one to see. From a player's perspective, how do you guys feel about this? Do you like adding more events like this to the season?
Yeah, so the only one I've been to like this, and I don't even know that I would consider it like this, but I've been to the Puerto Rico series in 2018, and that was a lot of fun, especially seeing guys like Jose Barrios and other Puerto Rican-born players on our team get to really, perform in front of their people, their home country, and that was pretty sweet and pretty cool to be a part of. But, yeah, these ones where you go to the smaller fields, the smaller towns, and and expand the game. And, we were walking back from dinner, a group of us last night here in this small little town that we're in outside of Birmingham. And, somebody stops us and says, hey, thank you guys for coming. And I don't think we really understand the positive impact that it has on these communities and these cities. And whether it's just bringing more fans to their town and, injecting, dollars into their economy, whatever it might be, I think there's a big part of it that we don't see. But, being able to play on these fields that especially this one that are so historic, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Kyle, you've been around a long time, and I'm sure you had mentors along the way, especially when you first were called up to the big leagues. Adam Kloffenstein has been called up by the Cardinals. Do you pull him aside at all, or do you just let him get his feet wet? Do you approach him? How do you handle situations like that?
Honestly, I don't normally. I mean, obviously, you welcome and you you ask him if he needs anything and do the normal stuff, but normally try to let guys experience it without, saying too much and being too overbearing, really. When you have an organization that teaches their guys a certain way to go about things, a certain way to carry themselves, you don't really need to do too much about, directing, hey, don't do this, do that. You just want to let him enjoy himself, let him soak it all in, and especially a cool environment like this. It'll be a fun place for him to have his first game.
What do you remember about your big league debut? The nerves, the feelings, anything that you remember most?
Let's see. I was just talking to Sonny about this the other day because the hotel we stayed at in Miami, the Ritz on Key Biscayne, was my very first big league hotel that I stayed in. And I called my wife that day, and I was like, Elizabeth, you're never going to believe where I am right now. I'm at a Ritz-Carlton hotel. And this is the first time I stayed in anything like that. And so that was cool, and the Twins were very gracious. They called me up 4 days early, so I got to spend 3 or 4 days with the team and, throwing a bullpen and just getting more comfortable. And then, started at home and almost gave up a first-pitch home run to Alex Gordon, deep fly ball to left field. And then after that, settled in a little bit and had a lot of fun.
Kyle, we didn't get a chance to talk last week. Speaking about younger days, last week was the 15-year anniversary of you being selected by the Twins in the 2009 draft, selected number 22 overall. Do you know who was selected 3 picks after you?
Come on. Oh, wait, can we make this a trivia question? Because, yeah, I can do this. No, trust me, the days where you struggle and you don't look like any shell of the player that your team hoped they were going to draft, they always let you know that Mike Trout was picked after you. So don't worry. They'll let you know that, yeah.
Obviously, you've faced Trout. How have you fared against Trout during your career?
Not great because he hits the low ball really well, and that's normally where I live. I think I have accidentally thrown him a front hip cutter once when I first started throwing it, and I think I might have gotten a strikeout there. But he hit maybe a 2-1 changeup that was down and away for a ball about 470 feet to left center field in Texas. So he's done pretty well against the low ball against me.
I'm always amazed by that. A 2-1 cutter. And you know exactly what happened. Do you remember pretty much every at bat like that when you face people?
There are ones that stand out. Yeah. When you go back and you look and you're like, man, that I can't throw it any better, and he hit it that far. There's certain ones that stand out, but I think, the day after a game, I probably can walk you through a decent amount of at-bats. My wife gives me a hard time because I don't normally have a great memory, but I do have the ability to remember which pitch I threw when and what the guy did to it. So I don't know. I don't like to think I have a selective memory when it comes to what she tells me, but I'm not sure why I remember certain things like that.
Hey, we had Lance Lynn on the show. That's why you were with us last week. And Lance and Alec Burleson have a great event coming up, Bats and Barrels, coming up on June 30th at the Adventure Unknown in Fenton, Missouri. And you folks at Big League Impact, that's going to be a really cool event. And you've been able to wrangle those two into talking some bourbon.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun event. We've never done anything like this. Once again, our goal here at Big League Impact is to not only raise money for charities, but to give fans a chance to see players in a different arena and a different, way to go about and hanging out. And Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I know Dusty Blake's going to be there, and then we're going to have, just like every other big league impact event, there's going to be 8 to 10 or more players there as well, and a chance to sit down and talk and just learn more about the players. And Adventure Unknown is a fairly new organization, and you can learn more about Adventure Unknown as well. But they do it's a really cool idea where they have this event space / building where people can come and use it if you're a member. But they also book trips for people to take, and it's kind of like an all-inclusive deal where you say, hey, you want to go? Yep. All right, you sign up and you go. So if you're someone who enjoys going on trips as a family or as a couple, that might be something to look at. But you can learn more about that when you come to Bats and Barrels. But go to bigleagueimpact.org and sign up. And I'm not even a bourbon drinker, but these events I just think are so cool to be able to come and like I said, raise money for charity and hang out with some Cardinals players.
Hey, Kyle, one other thing about this team, and I want to talk about yesterday's game in particular. I'm a big believer in the old adage that in baseball you're going to win 60 and you're going to lose 60, and it's the other 40 that you have control over that really matter in the season. With your injury yesterday and Arenado getting hurt yesterday, I just thought yesterday was one of those games that you were going to lose. Frustrating, yes, but it was one of the 60 that the Cardinals were going to lose. How do you look at yesterday and that 3-game series in Miami?
It's definitely frustrating for me. The bullpen did a great job, so I'm not going to sit here and say, had I started, we would have won, because I don't think that's fair to anybody. They did an awesome job and threw the ball really well. It definitely, to me, the impact is later on when this thing happens, these next 4 days, because of, even though we have an off day, just putting more pressure on the bullpen is why I think going deep into games and stuff like that is important. But, no, I don't think with our bullpen and where we're at offensively, I don't think right now we're going into any game and whatever the circumstance is, thinking, well, this is one of those 60. We're still really confident, especially with how our bullpen's been throwing and how we've been swinging the bat. And I've said, I don't know if I've said this to you guys, but baseball is a game of when, and it's when you get your hit, when you make your pitch. And yesterday we weren't able to get the hit and make a pitch when we needed to in a couple instances. And, the Marlins are still a big league team. Whether they've been struggling or not, they're still a big league team. And when they take advantage of certain things, they have a chance to win every game.
Kyle, thanks so much for the time. Enjoy yourself in Birmingham. Thanks for what you do not only in our community, but down there and what you're doing with Mason and Ollie today. Have a great time with that and enjoy the experience tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. See you when we get home.
You bet. Take care. That's Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander. And again, you can go to bigleagueimpact.org. Bats and Barrels is Sunday, June 30th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Adventure Unknown in Fenton. Learn more at bigleagueimpact.org. We've got our Rush Hour Reset coming up next on 101 ESPN. Hey, recently when I needed a new car, I went to AutoLoanPro.com. I obviously work with AutoLoanPro.com, and I wanted to be able to talk you through the process of using AutoLoanPro.com. And if you are in the market for a new vehicle, wherever you're buying your vehicle from, you should start with financing from AutoLoanPro.com, because they're working with over 50 different lenders to help you get the very best financing. And they said, okay, what would you like your payment to be? So I gave them the payment, and they found a perfect setup for me so that I'm paying the payment over the amount of time time that I want to pay. And they know at Auto Loan Pro that life can put good people in bad circumstances. However, if you can make a payment, they can get you a loan. Let me repeat that. If you can make a car payment, they can get you an auto loan. At autoloanpro.com, you should download their playbook, learn about what they do, and you can also find a vehicle at autoloanpro.com. I did, and you can too. I have my vehicle from Frank Lita and the Auto Loan Pro people, and it's a great place to work with. The Auto Loan Pro, again, working with over 50 lenders to help you get the very best financing. If you are financing a car, there's one thing to know. Choose the Auto Loan Pro at autoloanpro.com.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because they always provide such a wonderful experience. I have so much fun. I work out twice a week with Christine, which I need to get back to the gym to work out with Christine, my personal trainer, because obviously I had a little bit too much fun on the honeymoon with eating, of course. And then also they're helping me get back into the sport that I love, which is tennis that I played my entire life. Scott has been amazing, just helping me really get back to my game, and it's also helped me out with pickleball as well. And that's why I love my MAC.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:10 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Mike Claiborne is coming up in our next segment. Cardinals fall yesterday in Miami, 4-3. Tonight, they're going to play in Birmingham, and they're going to celebrate the Negro Leagues at Rickwood Field, and the Cardinals will pitch Andre Palante against the Giants. And this is one of the big spectacles of the regular season, baseball 2024. You had the London games, and now you've got Rickwood Field. And this is something, as Kyle Gibson said, Major League Baseball does a really good job of these marquee events that they put together. And again, the Cardinals on national TV, and it'll be a great celebration of Willie Mays. I'm sure Ozzie is down there. He was born in Mobile, Alabama, although he grew up in California. But I'm sure that Ozzie will be one of the Hall of Famers that will be very eloquent in celebrating Willie Mays.
I think it's really good and important that Major League Baseball does events like this, because it's really important to share the history, because Dan, you mentioned this earlier, so that history sometimes doesn't repeat itself. And I think it's so good to showcase this. By the way, the Cardinals will be wearing St. Louis Stars uniforms, and then you mentioned that they'll be honoring Willie Mays. And so it's really tough to have lost him this week, but what a special moment to be able to celebrate him tonight and what he means to the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of little kids that'll be watching and saying, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
I don't understand. What's going on here? You mean that there was... the country was marred with segregation and racism, and what are you talking about? I mean, it's a way to educate young fans. I do believe that, and to be a reminder for all of us where the country was and learning about history. So I think it's great. I also found it interesting what Kyle had to say in our Rush Hour Reset here, but would they just keep him on normal days rest and not then push back some of the starters with the off day? It'd be 7 days. So do you view that as a good thing for your starter and the Cardinals fundamentals to get a little rest for guys, or to keep them as they are, creatures of habit, and to make sure that they stay on the normal day's rest? That'll be interesting to see.
We have the NHL Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow. Game 6 between the Oilers and Panthers. 6:30 pregame. WNBA last night, the Indiana Fever won their 3rd in a row. After Caitlin Clark was left off the Olympic team, she told her coach in Indiana, they woke the monster. And now she's had 3 straight double-doubles, and the monster appears to be awake. And I wonder if now the rest of the league is saying, uh-oh, because she last night became the first rookie in WNBA history to have 40 points, 15 boards, and 15 assists in a two-game span.
I like that. I like that they awoke the monster in Caitlin Clark. I still can't believe that she was left off. I know that happened while I was gone, but I remember when that came out, I was just like, there's no reason for it whatsoever. Why would she be left off the team?
More attention you get from her, the better for the league. It's pretty simple.
Now, the Atlanta Dreams, Ryan Howard left last night's game. She's on the U.S. 3-on-3 team. She left with a severe ankle injury, might be a bad sprain. The Olympics are still a month away, but I wonder if that might open the door for Clark to play on the 3-on-3 team.
Man, I would hope.
Yeah.
I don't care what she's playing in. People are going to watch.
Yeah.
I will. I'll watch.
I think for the Olympics, wouldn't you want that as well? Just more eyes, and we know that Caitlin Clark brings more eyes.
What if she's not, though, one of the best players? You
People
still want her?
watch.
You see, that's where I'm at, is that for your league and for the sport, it's best to have her on.
Right.
And, even if she plays minimal minutes, I still would watch them more with her on the team than I will without.
Right. And when you're putting a team together, you at some point you have to have a 12th person on the team, right?
Yeah.
So I know that they're concerned about her fans not seeing. The games are in Paris, okay? Don't worry about the fans not seeing enough of her. If they see her on the bench and they know that she's representing their country, they're going to be happy.
Can I also bring up Katie Ledecky and just how much, just so dominant. I cannot believe that. The fact that she just continues to break her own records, it's incredible to see what she's been able to do.
Yeah, she will. She's going to probably be the star of these Olympics, I would think, wouldn't you? She's the most dominant performer, the Katie Ledecky, that we have.
For me, I can't wait for golf.
It's going to be fun. Scheffler?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward. Now, that's my personal. I know a lot of fans that are sports fans are not into golf. I get it. But for me, that's what I'm watching.
Does it bother you guys, by the way, that our dream team now is not the prohibitive favorite that they were when we won in 1992, when we just killed everybody? It was great. And Barkley's elbowing Angolans and stuff like that. Now, it's actually a competition. I preferred being dominant.
They're not the favorite going in?
Oh, they'll be the favorite, but it won't be prohibitive. There will be other countries that can play with us.
Yeah, it's changed over the last 30 years because of the way that they changed the game. And, and now the Americans have had to change how we play, too.
Yeah.
The issue still is, name another Slovenian besides Luka Doncic.
That's true.
Name another Serbian besides Nikola Jokic. Name another Greek player besides Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, that's true. But they still got the
Spain and France, though, a little tricky.
Is Wemby playing?
Oh, I think Wemby's playing.
Okay.
By the way, Wemby's playing. Koulibaly got drafted last year. I think that there's going to be 3 French lottery picks this year. They're coming.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Those croissant lovers are coming.
It's going to be a problem. Yeah. So it'll be fun. Looking forward to the Olympics. I think they start July 25th or 26th. So
I think the 26th.
Okay. Looking forward to that. There's your Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to head back to Birmingham, and Mike Claiborne will join us as the Cardinals get ready to take on the Giants. Claib's next on 101 ESPN. our friend Mike Claiborne.
We're also efforting Greg Amsinger this morning.
We were,
people,
yes.
Do they want to talk to us? What happened?
I think people are giving up. Well, maybe they just want to hear us.
Oh, that's what it is.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe
they love the show.
Not great cell phone connection.
Oh, that could
Birmingham,
be Birmingham.
maybe?
Yeah, Birmingham might not have enough cells.
Or just the partying they're doing right now with all the MLB media members is just our phone calls aren't getting through. Maybe Claves and Grand Gamsinger are hanging out. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised just find two extremely good-looking, well-dressed gentlemen in Birmingham, and it's probably Claves and Amsinger just chilling.
No, that's probably right. Yeah. So right now, the Cardinals hold the third wild card spot. They're a half game ahead of the Padres, Diamondbacks, and Pirates. And then the Cubs, Giants, and Mets are each one game back. And then the Reds are a game and a half back. So you have 9 teams. This includes Washington. They're tied with the Cardinals at 36 and 37, all under 500. That you've got 9 teams within a game and a half of each other in the NL wild card race. All of the teams under 500. Dan, you think? Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you think this is good for baseball?
I do. And I know that it's sub 500 teams. I know that the teams aren't playing great baseball, Cardinals included. But for casual fans to get involved in a pennant race, like you'll be checking probably mid-August, at least I will, on every single one of those teams and their scores and getting more in-depth on what they're doing. And I find that a good thing for the sport.
I think there's good and bad with it because then it kind of gives you a little bit of a false hope would be my big concern because we talked about it with the Cardinals. They're a 500 team, and that's what they just keep staying at. I know they're below it right now, but they're just a 500 team. I know they can make some additions and maybe make a push, but honestly, do you think that this team is capable of making a late playoff push?
They would have to be completely healthy and be playing at their best. I think that this team is probably more capable than some of the other teams, but my concern about what this fosters in the long term, next year, the year after, is it seems like 500 might be the goal now for everybody.
That's
okay, if I can be around 500, I can be a playoff team. And I would hope that franchises will build their teams to be well above 500.
Here's a question. Do you get rewarded really for winning your division?
I don't think you do. In fact,
you know what I'm saying?
I think it penalizes teams to have to sit for 4 days.
That's where I'm going. I don't know if you're better off doing that. And then, we were just talking with Kyle Gibson. It's an interruption in the schedule. It's a good interruption in the schedule, but a weird off day on a Friday, then get back home to St. Louis after a fairly long road trip. They're creatures of habit. And then all of a sudden, when you have to play the most important games of your season and you've had 4 days off, I think you lose the edge. I mean, Brian Snicker talked about that last year with the Braves. There is something to that, and I've felt that for a long time in watching this, is that if you have time to take off, it's not necessarily a good thing to finish first. And the other thing is, if you're a wild card team, you're playing playoff baseball for the last 6 weeks. So you come in playing with an edge, and I think there's something to that.
I do think that the one thing that they could tweak if they're going to maintain this system where you do get the bye if you're the division winners, I don't think that you should have to play a road game in the division series.
That's the one I think, too, is that if you're going to wind up being able to line up your pitching, which you should be because you're going to get the 4 days off, then the other benefit of winning your division is you're at home in that first round. Yeah. And that's a big difference. Yeah. Really big difference.
So that's a best of 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the division, that's a
best of 3.
So the first round is a best of 3.
Correct.
So you have the one division winner in there. That team should definitely never have to go on the road. But then once you get into the NLDS, the 2 teams that get the buys, I think should also get the added benefit of never having to go on the road.
I think that's a great point. And also today we have Adam Kloffenstein. We talked about this earlier. I just want to get you guys your perspective on this. So Kloffenstein will join the active roster. How do you think that situation will play? And then we found out that Victor Scott III will be the 27th man that's added. And he's added because, obviously, the extra traveling for the Cardinals.
I wonder if the Cardinals, and obviously Ollie will, it depends on where the game is if Victor Scott gets in, because he's only going to pinch run, right?
You would think, or play defense.
Yeah.
If you have a lead.
I could see Kloffenstein, though, getting an opportunity to be a piggyback guy. depending on what Palante does, because Palante was out in the third inning 2 starts ago, and then he's gone 6 in his other couple of starts. But if Palante's out in the third, I could see Kloffenstein being charged with giving the Cardinals an inning in a third, an inning in 2/3.
Yeah, he threw 91 pitches for Memphis on Sunday. So if he debuts, it's on 3 days rest, which is something to consider. It's one of those things that a manager has to think about is you really want to get a guy up in the major leagues, and some managers, Tony was like this, he threw him right into the fire. Just get your feet wet, get it over with, make your debut. And then on the flip side, if I'm Ollie, do I really want this kid? Now it's the big leagues. He's a big leaguer, and should it really matter? But do you want him to appear on a national stage and throw him into a different ballpark, and that's where he makes his major league debut? I go back to, you're a major leaguer, they called you up, you get used in any spot that you're available for. However, there is something to be said about just getting your feet wet and kind of just slowly being ingratiated into Major League Baseball.
And this is a smaller stadium, correct?
I believe so. They're going to have like
Very
10,000 fans.
Okay.
10,000.
Yeah,
it's intimate setting. It's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's something that's great for baseball. I really do. We talked about the reasoning behind it, but I think it's great for Major League Baseball to do this, and probably should do more of these things.
June 4th, let me make sure I get this right. June 8th, 1982. The first place Cardinals are in Montreal. Cardinals bring up a side-arming right-hander named Jeff Keener, who really wasn't a prospect, but the Cardinals are in a 1-run game in the 8th inning, and Whitey brings Jeff Keener into the game on the road, 1-run game, and he winds up going an inning and a third, getting a couple of strikeouts, and had a brief career. But he got into Montreal that day, and Whitey had him on the mound in a clutch situation that night.
And the other thing with Kloffenstein, too, is that, you know what, maybe you use him and it buys you more time with your bullpen. Mm-hmm. So not only to try to get to the big 3 at the end of the game, but also if the game is out of reach, and you're losing, you just say, you're going to wear it for a little bit, and we have an off day coming up that gives us another day for our guys to rest, which is something to consider moving forward, too.
And Giovanny Gallegos, possibly another arm that's going to be available for the Cardinals.
Giovanny. I mean, you're all over it.
I'm keeping us updated on this, on Giovanny Gallegos. I'm just curious because, you know, you guys said it, but I know that he's had the experience, which is why he's getting these opportunities. I'm just curious where they end up with him moving forward.
He also has the contract.
Yes.
Right? And it's not prohibitive if they want to let him go.
Well, you got to see what he's got.
Yeah, but when's the last time he pitched well? That's my concern.
Exactly.
It's been a long time since Gallegos has been an effective, winning major league relief pitcher.
I think you at least have to see what he's got. You give him a few outings, and if it's not going to work out, then you come up with the phantom injury again, and he's off the roster for the major leagues. But if he's ineffective, then there's no role for him here with the major league club.
He's making $5.75 this year, has a buyout after this year of $500,000. So if you would let him go, you'd just pay the $500,000.
Yeah.
But still, that's a pretty good chunk of change, right? You're not even halfway through the season, and you owe the guy $6 million.
And you gotta find out. Yep. If he can get back to what he was a couple of years ago, which was a really good reliever, very good closer. But if he, you're getting to the stretch run here pretty soon where every game is vital, and you got to find guys that can bridge the gap to get you to the big 3. Maybe it's a Kloffenstein. Maybe it's somebody else that they bring up. Maybe it's outside the organization. But if Gio is ineffective, you can't just carry him because of a contract.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
In addition to Gallegos, there are multiple Cardinals that are on their way back. Coming up, which injured Cardinal are we most excited about seeing? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Did somebody say free diamond bracelet? That's right. Diamonds Direct is expanding upon their best offer yet. Make any purchase this month and receive a free diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. That's right. Any engagement ring, any diamond necklace, any timepiece. Purchase any item valued at $10,000 or more and receive a stunning diamond tennis bracelet at no extra cost. Every purchase of $10,000 or more qualifies. So hurry into Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet ends June 30th. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and this year we decided it was time to make a major upgrade to our home by updating our bathroom. We have this house in U City. It's over 100 years old, and we love it, but we never exactly loved our main bathroom. But this is really the first time we've ever done a big project like this before, so we decided to reach out to one of our great sponsors here of 101 ESPN, and that is EMB Granite. EMB Granite came by our house for a free consultation, and they came up with a vision of how to really transform our bathroom. My favorite part of working with EMB Granite was stopping by their amazing showroom to explore their large selection of in-stock custom countertops, all their different cabinet options. Jen was the one who was working with us, and she has been fantastic. She came up with so many great ideas that really fit within our budget, and I'm happy to report that our bathroom is now done, and it looks exactly like how Jen drew up. It's so beautiful, and that's what they've been doing there at EMB Granite for over 20 years, turning visions into realities. So schedule your free consultation by calling 314-645-9300 or go online at embgranite.com or stop by their amazing showroom today and make sure you mention that I sent you.
Sponsored by Taco Bell.
ESPN Sports Center.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals fall to the Marlins yesterday and dropped that series 2 games out of 3. Matthew Liberatore did get the start after Kyle Gibson was pulled with a back injury. He went 3 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and of course, those 2 earned runs came from the 2 home runs he allowed to open the game. Cardinals will start a 3-game series against the Giants. Tonight against the Giants, it'll be at Rickwood Field, 6:15 first pitch. It'll be Keaton Winn facing off against the righty for the Cardinals, Andre Palante. Cardinals will then be off on Friday, and we'll finish off their series against the Giants on Saturday and Sunday here at Busch Stadium. Last night at City Park, St. Louis City falls to the Colorado Rapids 3-0. They have now gone 7 straight games without taking all 3 points. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
So, had a conversation during the break here, and Matthew
Oh, no.
needs to know that the definition of love, according to dictionary.com, is a profoundly tender, passionate affection, often mingled with sexual desire for another person. As an example, the couple's ardent love for each other poured out in these love letters survived their separation.
Randy, do you want to talk about what was leading up to that conversation, though?
So Bill Belichick has a new bae. All right? Hey, bae. 72-year-old Bill is dating 24-year-old former cheerleader
24.
and former
Cardinal
student.
you're looking forward to coming
Jordan
back.
Hudson. So Matthew says it should be illegal. Illegal for a 72.
48-year age gap. She is a child. Comparatively, she is a child.
So,
but it's love.
What is
No,
the
it's not.
appropriate age gap situation? 10 years?
I'll give you 30. I'm saying there's a line somewhere between
How much
30
money
and
does he have?
48.
Bingo.
That's all I'm
Daniel.
saying,
Thank
Brooke.
you.
I'm saying this is all arbitrary in the first place. We all just pick numbers and run with them. That's my arbitrary number. I'm saying somewhere between 30 and 48 is where I'm drawing the line.
You're missing the point. You need to find the number of money.
Let's say net worth.
I'm aware of this.
I don't see a lot of true love between 90-year-old. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a lot of 32-year-olds with money.
I don't see a lot of 90-year-olds with dating 30-year-olds that have a lot of money. Or rather, the other way, that don't have a lot of money.
You can love money, and that's where the love.
They bonded over logic.
Oh, come on. People love money.
He signed her book, her textbook.
And put
what
the
are you
Super
talking
Bowl
about?
inscriptions
Yes,
on
he
it,
did.
too.
He was helping her with her homework. So.
This is more. I honestly haven't kept up with it.
I bet he was.
My important follow-up question was, is she where the Ring camera video came from?
I kind of think that's the case, yes.
Oh, that very infamous Ring camera video.
Yeah.
Just look it up.
BB, he's something. Okay, so Willson Contreras is...
Hold on. The 314 says half your age plus 7. How do you come up with that calculation?
That was the old adage. It was
Okay,
that was an
That's
old
fine.
rule of thumb that got put out there was half your age plus 7.
Huh.
I have never heard this before.
I hadn't either.
So...
You can't be halfway.
It sounds interesting to me.
You can't be halfway to retirement bore your significant other is born. That's a good rule of thumb.
That's not a bad rule of thumb.
That's fair.
good.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's just throw the love out.
Yeah, but fine, they're in love.
Let's break hearts here. Fine.
What do you call, what's the kid is born? Is it dad or is it grandpa or what do we got? I'm just asking. Yeah.
We should ask Mick Jagger.
There you go.
Yeah, he would know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Willson Contreras is on a rehab assignment.
There's no good way to segue that.
Yeah. You've got Steven Matz apparently returning at some point, although he has apparently suffered a setback, right? Gallegos is coming back. Riley O'Brien is coming back. And we may or may not see Tommy Edman this year. But of all the Cardinals that are on the shelf now that are possibilities for coming back, let's just assume they're all possibilities for coming back, which one intrigues you or excites you the most about their return?
I think the easy answer here is Willson Contreras, right? How quickly he's returning. And he was in the lineup last night for Memphis. I'm excited to see Willson Contreras back because here's another layer to this. What does that add when it comes to the trade deadline? Is there some pieces here that possibly the Cardinals can move with maybe a Von Herrera or even Pajes?
It's on the table, certainly. I would be excited to see, or at least looking forward to Tommy Edman. Because you've gotten nothing out of center field offensively. You've gotten really good defense from Siani, but basically you've gotten nothing offensively from that position. And the number one guy coming back is Contreras. But to give your team a chance to win, I'm not saying Tommy Edman is the savior, don't get me wrong, but he's got to be better than what you're getting right now out of center field.
And for me, it's the unknown. I want to see what Riley O'Brien has because he was a big-time strikeout pitcher last year in AAA for the Mariners, had a really good spring. We tend to forget that. Now, it'll be a while before he rounds into form, but with the problems the Cardinals are enduring right now with the bullpen and people being worn out, Riley O'Brien could wind up being a key portion of the back end of that bullpen, 7, 8, or 9.
What about Giovanny Gallegos? No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to do that to Dan.
Giovanny could be, though. That's you never know.
I just wanted to see Dan's reaction.
No, I'm just taking it all in.
So, and my concern about Edman coming off of the wrist injury is, will he ever be 100% this year?
Probably not. I mean, if he's not back now, I can't imagine that he would be 100%. Now, we're not doctors, but I mean, it would just seem like
play him on the radio.
Hey, you gotta push it a little bit to get back on the field,
right?
And so that would tell me he's not at 100%.
What about Steven Matz? And now he's going to get that second opinion. Are you concerned about what that means?
I am, because he's just had so many injuries, and he's had to deal with that the lower back issues that he's dealt with as a member of the Cardinals, in addition to the other injuries. I'm just really concerned about his ability to be 100%, and especially, and he hasn't had to deal with surgery, but once you have surgery, it's really hard to come back.
If you have Palante, who pitches well tonight, why doesn't he get another start? And then where does Steven Matz fit in? Let's say he goes the next 2 days or 2 starts and pitches well, why would you take him out of the rotation if Steven Matz is coming back? I wouldn't. I'd put Steven Matz in the bullpen and say, until this guy really falters and until he is awful, which may happen, Steven Matz is going to my bullpen. That's how I have to approach it.
Well, but then the contract, that's the thing. That seems to always take the importance.
Yeah, I think, though, you're getting to the point now, you'd have a year and some change left on the deal that now I'd feel more comfortable moving him to the bullpen as opposed to year 1 or 2. But to your point, I think they still look at him as being a starter, and they're paying him a lot of money to start, so they're going to give him every opportunity to do so.
The other side of that, though, is if Palante is pitching well, it wouldn't be the first time we paid a lefty reliever $11 million.
Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that comes to mind for sure.
So, and they gave Cecil a ton of money, too. So all they have to do is say, okay, here's our portfolio. Here's our dollars spent on the bullpen and in the starting rotation. He's going to be with us anyway, so where is he going to be the best tool for us? You got to just find out what he's going to do best for you. By the way, Palante, and this bodes well for this evening. First start, 6 shutout innings. Second start, 3 innings, 6 earned runs. Third start, 5 shutout innings. And then fourth start, 3 1/3, and he allows 2, only 1 earned. So you would think that you'll get 5 or 6 shutout innings out of him tonight.
Going back to Kloffenstein or Stein or whatever, you bring him up, and you think that as quick a hook that they had with Palante last game, they should feel covered with Kloffenstein coming up and giving you multiple innings. And there should be other guys that are available in the back end of the bullpen. So if you wanted to shorten the game with some relievers with an off day tomorrow, they should be able to do that.
That's something that they really need right now. And the Victor Scott III, as we mentioned, he will also be a part of this team. So I'm interested to see how they'll utilize him tonight.
I would think tie game, 1-run game, late innings, get a runner at first. He's going to be in there.
He's going to run, barring one of your big guys being at first base. And also in a tight game, bring him in defensively. If you have a lead or a tie game, maybe he goes into the outfield. And the one thing, though, that you do have is Siani's a very good center fielder. He's well above average defensively. So the role for him is to be determined tonight.
We did have some people text in asking this earlier, and I wanted to get the take from you guys. Jordan Walker, why do you think that he wasn't called up in this situation, or added to the roster, in this situation?
Because of the speed of the other guy.
Yeah, I think
he fits a role.
For tonight, Scott's just a more useful player for you.
Yeah, and you're not going to take somebody out of the lineup to give Walker that spot. So I would assume that's why you do it, to pinch run or to play some defense.
And it's temporary.
Yeah, it's one game.
1 day.
Yeah.
So there you have it. The Cardinals injured guys. Hopefully by the next 2 weeks, by the time we get to the 4th of July, the Cardinals will have a reasonably full complement of players. I don't think we'll see Edman by then, but I would think there's a chance. We'll definitely have Contreras around. I would be shocked if Gallegos hadn't been up by that point, might be gone by that point. O'Brien, and then the questions are Matz and Edman. When I would be surprised if either of those two were back by the 4th of July.
The guy you got to get back is Contreras.
Yeah.
I mean, he helps solidify the middle of that lineup, too. And you just need another bat.
I think we'll see him on Saturday.
Good. It would make some sense. I mean, he has progressed way ahead of schedule. I was talking to some people, and they thought there was no way he would be in this position to come back. And to his credit, he's healed quickly and wants to get back in there, which is great.
That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, we're going to head down the stretch with Matthew and Rocc and Roll here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to share with you something that I wish I knew about a while ago, and that is Golden Oak Lending. Listen, I know a lot of us have been there before, possibly racking up credit card debt, maybe even student loans. I know that I've been there before, but the people there over at Golden Oak Lending, they are there to help you. While credit card payments have been at an all-time high and mortgage rates have just gone through the roof, there is good news. Mortgage rates have started to come down. Golden Oak Lending has mortgage rates at 5.375% fixed, with customers saving on average $1,114 a month. Golden Oak just makes it so easy. This is how easy it is. You just are able to call in. I called in one day and spoke with Jason, who made the call just super quick and professional, and he really educated us on our current loan on our house and what to look for in the future. Finance has really never been my thing, but Jason was so nice, and he really made sure to educate and guide me to the best solution for my needs. And that's what they do there at Golden Oak Lending, personalized service that makes you feel heard and really addresses your needs and stress surrounding finances. So call today at 314-567-GOLD now to get started, or go to goldenoaklending.com and see all the reviews for yourself. 5.934% APR, FHA 15-year fixed with 20% equity and qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS number 114937.
Attention business owners and CEOs and CFOs, entrepreneurs, you don't want to miss the biggest business event of the year in St. Louis. It's Thursday, June 27th at the Union Station Hotel. NetSuite by Oracle is hosting a day-long event called Business Grows Here in St. Louis, and it's set up to help you grow your business. You can spend the day and you're going to learn from a bunch of speakers, including Jamie Siminoff. He's the founder of Ring Video Doorbell. It's a pretty big deal. And now he's got another company that he's going to headquarter right here in St. Louis. Everybody you're going to hear will leave you with strategies and tips that you can immediately apply to your business. Take notes and meet people that can change the way you look at growing your business. Apply to attend the business event of the year. NetSuite's Business Grows Here happens Thursday, June 27th. It's free to attend if you qualify. Apply today and find out if you do apply or do qualify while seats are still available. Go online to netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri, and get to the business event of the year, June 27th at Union Station.
gonna rock. You know, end roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
It is time for Rocc and Roll with Matthew Rocchio. What do you got for us, sir?
You want to talk about one or two? I got two audio clips that I can throw out here for Rocc and Roll. One of them is from the show to talk a little bit of baseball, and the other one is what I thought was a very interesting comment from Cardinal last night in the postgame after City got drubbed 3-0.
Let's do the City. I want to after getting drubbed. Yeah, I like the word drubbed.
He was asked about fan frustration and about the fan frustration starting to grow, if he's noticed it, and his reaction to the fan frustration around City starting to grow.
For sure, fans are frustrated, players are frustrated, coaches are frustrated. We're all frustrated in the situation that we're in. I think it's human nature to be frustrated, for sure, you know. But the last thing we want to do in our four walls is do any finger pointing, you know. So it starts with me, what I got right, what I got wrong in this game, in the last season, you know. So there's many good, there's many things that we are growing with, and we're moving on, right? So as a group, as an organization, we have to stick together because, life is not just one-sided, right? So Real Madrid went 100 years without winning a Champions League, whatever it was, you know. So there are things there that, we just have to progress and take time. We're still young in our infancy, and we're still knowing we're moving in the right direction as an organization. So do I feel the frustration? 100%. Is it warranted? 100%. And this is my message, right? So, but at the same time, this is the support we need. This is the togetherness we believe in and thrive on. So, you know, we're not asking any questions of that right now. We need our fans to be connected with us through a tough time. Simple as that. And I urge them and embrace them to do so.
I am frustrated, but I'm also a fan. And I have hopes that they'll be able to come out of this scoreless drought. Kind of what I expect from soccer, though.
If you take on the fans, you lose. So he said the right thing.
He said the right thing, yeah.
You know,
I mean, don't you score a few goals generally? They're on scholarship, too.
They're on scholarship, too.
Yeah.
For me, the thing that jumped out to me the most, and I just thought you could take that, you could take the quote and put it in a lot of different contexts. Life isn't just one-sided. I thought that was my favorite part of that quote, because it was they's on scholarship too, but it was a much more universal way of putting it, which is like them having a bad game or them, you know, or what happened in the game isn't just a one-sided thing of, well, they made this mistake. There's a lot of variables into it, and just overreacting to one bad stretch of games probably isn't what a coach is ever really going to do. It was a very honest answer from Bradley Cardinal, and I appreciated that. And again, I think life isn't just one-sided is a quote I think more people can look at and kind of think on.
I'm of the opinion here. I still look at this as an expansion team.
Yep.
And I know it's not going to be, everything's not going to be sunshine and lollipops. And that's why I kind of expect that there are going to be bumps in the road. If we're expecting that this team that played its first game last season is just going to go to the playoffs and be the best team in the West its first year and then win championships every year thereafter, that's not the reality of the situation. And what happens during sports off seasons is that other teams study you and find out what you do well. And if there is a vulnerability, they'll find it. And evidently, that's one of the things that's happened to City SC. This is not a group like the 2000 Rams that had 5 Hall of Famers, where after 1999, people could go to the tape and say, okay, we'll stop. I remember in 1999 one time, remember how we would go out on the patio to watch practice and back. And the Rams were getting ready to play the 49ers in the second game. They played the first game here. And they were getting ready to go out there. And for whatever reason, we were talking about the media being able, I think there was a national TV game. It wasn't national, but the network TV guys were out there. And I said to DV, I said, man, thanks for letting us watch practice, because not every coach does this. And I appreciate your transparency. He said, Randy, I don't want to be arrogant, but we could have Steve Mariucci standing here, and the 49ers still wouldn't have a chance against us. Because they just had better players.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do to win. You got to have better players.
I think we've been spoiled with what happened last year.
Yeah.
If you would have said, okay, the expansion team last year won a handful of games, and then this year they're doing what they're doing, people would be like, okay, I'm just happy to have soccer in town. I love it.
I also think there's nothing wrong with with admitting the fact that last year was obviously a lot of lucky breaks coinciding with kind of a Cinderella season as an expansion club. I don't think that's a groundbreaking or insulting thing to say in any way, shape, or form. It's just that's kind of the reality of the situation. And the big thing now for City is going to kind of like with the Cardinals, which is there's now a date circled on your calendar in a month, which is July 18th, which is the conversation kind of resets around that, which is so what is the conversation now over the next month when you know that Cardinal is coaching with a roster that is incomplete, because now there's three pieces, maybe even a fourth one coming down the pipe with a guy who maybe replaces a Dennerin once they sell him. I mean, there's four pieces that are essentially getting changed for this team. I mean, we talk a lot about the Cardinals. Like this is going to be a different roster for the second half of the season for City. How much is that going to impact what they're doing right now? We'll see.
What do you think about moving on from Sam and Dennerin? Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and both of them have been pretty candid about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you take an L in the asset management side of things. He blew up for you last year, and you got teams. Apparently, it was reported that teams were coming for you with transfer fees for him over the winter, and you said no because it looked like he was going to be a pretty good combination with him and Klaus up front. And then you get to the regular season, and apparently there's an issue with his training and his kind of cohesiveness with the rest of the team. He gets the suspension, and he has never impacted on the field the same way he did prior to the suspension, since the suspension. And so you kind of just, the rubber meets the road at one point, and you gotta make a move. And it looked like he wasn't going to be able to impact City on the field, and so therefore you got to free up the space, get some money, and kind of reset again.
So
it's a bummer, but I mean, he hasn't been an impact player since he was suspended. And I don't think it takes a lot to look into kind of how that happens.
So, they just don't seem to be on the same page, right? From a personal standpoint, it just doesn't seem like they have. I'm not going to say the same goals, but it seems like to reach their goals, there are different philosophical differences between Cardinal and Dennerin.
And sometimes, sometimes a change of pace, and a change of scenery really helps. Again, is for Dennerin, was it an issue with training? Probably not. Was it an issue maybe with him not being overall happy in the fact that he didn't get sold to a European club when they apparently were coming after him? That might be something too. A lot of different variables. Jumping to any of those conclusions would be, I think, immature and ignorant.
Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocc. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Brooke, welcome back. Did you have fun?
Yes, I did.
Good. So 8-hour time difference. How you doing with the time difference?
I think it was 8 hours. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I just remember that I would get notifications that you guys were on air, and it would be like 4 o'clock or later in the evening in Croatia. So still adjusting a little bit. Head hurts a little bit, but it's fine because I'm back with you guys.
Yeah, well, with Dan and I, get ready, get used to the headaches again.
No kidding.
Dan and Randy and Rockio or Croatia, taking you guys every single time, of course.
Welcome back, love you. Good to have you here.
Yes.
Danny, you were awesome again today.
You were awesome, and what does Rockio say? Pleasure. Pleasure.
We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of this show. We've got a balloon party coming up with T-Mac and Ajax, followed by BK and Ferrario, and then the Fast Lane from 2 to 6. Until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Friday Eve, St. Louis.
Bring gas.